おい、ゴンジドン。お前、親戚におめでたがあるから今日一日お暇いただきますって言ったのはいいがな。こんなにおめえ遅く帰ってくるとは思わなかったよ。おめえが一人いねえってと困らな他の若い衆が急に忙しくなっちまって。
All right.
申し訳ございませんでした。早く帰ろうと思ったんですがね、この雨でござしたんでね、どうも手間取っちまいまして。申し訳ございませんでした。
Man, it does not feel like it's been 6 days since I last streamed. I think it's been 6, actually.
思い出しただけで寒気がするが、気のせいかな、それともはばかり行きたくなったのかな。よし、立ち上がりますという。
Yeah, the last time I went live was the night of the 9th, and it's the 15th now, so technically 5 days because I was live after midnight that night, but hey, who's counting? I know I'm not. Anyways, we're back. And it would not be a stamp stream if there wasn't a lot of yapping on the agenda. I mean, it really wouldn't be. But yeah, I've been going back to the gym, kind of hitting it super hard. Actually did one of the most intense leg days and also chest and upper arm days that I've pretty much ever done. And it fucked me up for a couple days of recovery. Like I was just fucking done. I was absolutely done. There was nothing. I could basically barely walk. I had to walk super gingerly for a couple days, shall we say. So it was pretty shitty overall, but hey, you gotta do it. Man, sometimes a nice fucking heavy workout is the best thing for you. Mentally, I feel the best that I ever do after I do a day like that. And I also get into these modes where if someone else comes into the gym, especially if I feel like I've had enough and I'm like winding down and I'm like, all right, this is probably gonna be my last set, or like, you know, just a couple more miles on the treadmill and I'm done. Like I'm shot. I gotta leave. If somebody else comes to the gym, I get this weird hyper competitive thing where I'm like, well, I can't leave now. They just got here. You know, I have to continue now, and then I'll keep going for like sometimes up to an hour. You know, not just to be competitive, but I'll go for another hour just because I'm like, I don't want to look like I'm lazy in front of somebody else. I know that's probably fucking weird, but I feel like that's a healthy thing because even though it sounds absurd, it helps me stay at the gym an hour longer. And so, yes, it's weird, but it's a net positive. You know what I mean? Weird, absolutely. But it, like I said, it gives me that extra time in the gym. It ensures that I stay there a little bit longer. So it's a plus overall across the board. It's a plus. Oh yeah, I have a new, look how pitch black, shiny clean this windscreen is. I popped this on just last night. It's brand new, so it's ready. I clean these. I put them in like bowls of soap and I clean them because I have a bunch of them laying around. You got to keep your windscreens clean, guys. Especially, not that I have a podcast that would have guests in person, but especially a lot of those podcasts that have these mics, they have guests on and you can tell they are not clean. Fucking unsanitary shit. Sorry, we got very bipolar weather around here lately, so some days it's super fucking hot, some days it's really cold, and so I get chapped lips all the time. That's why I gotta keep the Carmex on deck, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, yeah, I've been hitting the gym hard. Me and Future are still working on our video. In fact, he's probably gonna beat my ass because I have to send him basically my side of the voice recordings because we're both going to be doing narration on this video. And I have to finish my side and send it to him. Well, really, I don't have to finish it. I can send it to him like as I complete it. I just keep doing 1,000,001 re-records and I'm just not happy with it. So I'm going to have to basically tomorrow probably just grind it out. There's also been some, not really personal stuff, but like real life shit. Like our apartment complex got taken over by a new company. So I've kind of had to deal with some administrative stuff to do with that, you know, lease renewals and on all kinds of other shit. So yeah, there's just been a lot of stuff going on. Oh yeah, never mind the fact I was gonna come back last night and stream again, but we had a severe thunderstorm warning, and call me paranoid, but I don't like to have my PC and all these lights and my audio stuff running when we could potentially lose power or have a power surge or some shit. That's just me. I have lost PCs in the past to bad electrical storms, and I don't want to cause that to happen again, so it is what it is. But anyways, yeah, so had a pretty good long conversation with Future just about stuff, just about streaming, content creation and stuff like that. And yeah, I feel it was a very productive conversation. You know how sometimes it's really hard to like look outside of your own sometimes it's really hard to look outside of your own very narrow perspective on things and figure out what you should be doing until you talk to somebody else. And so that's why it was very good for me to do that. I think sometimes me and a lot of other people have a tendency to just think that we know best. Not that I do. I want to make that very clear. I've said many times I do not know best. But, you know, sometimes you have a tendency to just think in a very narrow scope and not really think outside the box too much until somebody else talks to you and is like, oh, you know, here's the way that things actually are. So that was a great conversation that we had, and I took away a lot from it, actually. But I certainly feel better about what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do. Have had even more of my like content creator friends stop doing it, and it's becoming more and more like most of the smaller streamers I knew of that were getting started around when I was getting started are all like done, like they've all quit, and just kind of moved on to other stuff in life. Like one of the streamers I've talked about before, he was playing Mario 64 on his last stream, and just, you know, said a lot of stuff that while I can relate with it, I don't share his perspective on things. But he was saying things like, you know, it just feels like if you didn't start in 2010, you can't do variety streaming, as in variety of video games. He's like, if you didn't start in 2010 or you didn't start pre-Twitch TV, you can't be a variety game streamer. It just isn't going to work. Like, you have to find your one genre within the one subgenre, and in some cases, one game. Like Dead by Daylight. What's up, Adipie? In some cases, I was basically talking about how, like, I had a friend who quit streaming recently, and one of the things he made and like one of the things he said in his last stream was like, if you didn't start in 2010, you can't be a variety game streamer. And I kind of agree with that. Like, the only people that can truly get away with variety streaming is maybe Maximilian Dude, who has genuinely been around since 2009, 2010, I think is when he actually started. As in just any video game from any genre, whenever you want to play it, whatever you want to play, whenever, it's very, very difficult to make that work nowadays. You have to kind of build your audience within one game and then go to others. Like, perfect example. Do you know Adipie of the streamer Skirms? The Dead by Daylight streamer Skirms? I mean, he's mainly known for Dead by Daylight, I should say. It's not the only thing he does. But he has like 10,000 plus, well, he has like 10,000 plus hours in Dead by Daylight. So over the past maybe 6-7 years, he has built a massive audience of Dead by Daylight people so that when he does decide to go play something else, they will follow him. Yeah, he has like 10,000, maybe even higher. So because of that, he has so many people that he's just built up over years of grinding this one game continuously that he has he seen grass? That's a good question. I don't know. But he has so many people that any game he wants to play, regardless of the genre, they will follow him and watch him play it. And I almost feel like, as miserable as that sounds, that's kind of what you have to do nowadays. Like you don't have to grind 10,000 hours. That I don't know for sure if you have to do that. But what I do know for sure is that if you want to make it as a video game streamer, you have to select either one genre, which, you know, horror, I guess you could say would be mine. Whatever, fighters, JRPGs, whatever it happens to be. But there is another problem, which is that some games stream very well and some games don't stream very well. Like JRPGs, for example, do not stream well. That's kind of what happened with PewDiePie. Only played horror stuff and the people kept watching everything. Yeah, true. You could argue Markiplier was the same way, was he not? Wasn't Markiplier's big video that blew him up his first Five Nights at Freddy's video in 2014, where he called it like scariest game ever? And wasn't that, I mean, he was already full-time YouTube before this, but maybe a few 100,000 subs. When he put that video out, that's what catapulted him to, you know, overnight success, like household name Markiplier. Everybody knows who that is, was when that video came out, from what I remember at least. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Yeah, I was just talking with a community member, you know, Future Mute. He's in here quite a bit. Just talking to him about content creation and kind of like my goals and stuff. And I think it's important. Those early days of YouTube celebrities, oh my God. Well, I can't really look back on them fondly now, because like all of the big YouTube names when I was first starting have pretty much all been outed as like sexual abusers and shit like that. Like not all of them, obviously. There are some, like Jack's Films, a few others that have been around since like the very, very beginning of YouTube that have remained controversy free, but a big chunk of them have gotten into their own fair share of bullshit, unfortunately. And it's also crazy to think that a lot of those early quote unquote YouTube celebrities are like in their mid 40s now. Try not to be a successful YouTuber and a PDF file challenge impossible. Oh my God. You know, the sad part is the funniest things are the truest ones. It wouldn't be a joke if it wasn't true, or if it wasn't at least based in reality somewhat. But yeah, here lately especially, it seems to be Minecraft YouTubers. I don't know what's up with that. Like, remember that guy Sky Does Minecraft or whatever? Isn't he like fully retired from YouTube now? I think Sky Does Minecraft is fully retired from YouTube now and doesn't upload anymore, but there was a period in time where that guy was the #1 across all platforms. Yeah, he hasn't uploaded anything in 3 years. Oh, no, you're good. I was just saying about Future Mute, like me and him went into a Discord call the other day and just kind of talked about, you know, what I'm doing content creation wise, what I want my stream to be. And what it just kind of came down to was I just kind of, I didn't have the wrong perspective on things, but I had a warped perspective as the person who is going live of what people maybe wanted to see. That was not what it actually is. And what I mean by that is video games. I thought that, because again, you got to remember, I came up in Twitch when Twitch was about gaming, and that was the sole focus of this platform. Over time though, that has shifted a lot, and most of Twitch is just chatting now. The just chatting category has 405,000 viewers right now as we speak. And not to say that I won't play video games ever again. I'll still do that plenty. I just don't think that needs to be nearly as much of a focus as it was in the past. You know what I mean? Because what I found out from Future and from a lot of other people is that they actually value the conversations we have and the Nightmare Fuel videos that we watch a lot more than that. And I don't know why it was so hard for me to accept that. Like, it wasn't as if I thought people weren't being honest with me, because I absolutely believe them. Why would they tell me wrong? I just think that I had it so deep rooted in my brain that Twitch is about playing games, that I was like, nah, man, like, gaming is that is Twitch. Like, how is it not? But it makes sense. I mean, I think people want more connection to the content creators they watch nowadays than just watching them play a video game, you know? It's not parasocial to say this, but I think that people want more interactivity, and anything that's on the screen that is not simply like talking to chat is a distraction from that interactivity in a way, if you really think about it. Are you trying to build your brand around Silent Hill like a couple other YouTubers, or just horror stuff in general? Because I think most people prefer to have a defined idea of the channels they follow. That's a good question. See, that is a really good question. I need a sip of coffee before I... Okay. So, therein lies the problem. Because, of course I love talking about Silent Hill, but the word shoehorning comes to mind, basically meaning I will be stuck creating one very narrow, specific type of content for a very, very long time, if that's all that I intend to talk about. You know what I mean? There's only so much. What's up, Siren? How's everything been going, by the way, man? There's only so much that you can talk about in terms of Silent Hill before you've kind of covered the most of it. But in the general, really well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. But in the general horror landscape, obviously there's a lot more to talk about. But I don't know. See, here's where the issue is. Like, I've seen other Silent Hill YouTubers doing that, and I just had to stop watching at some point. Going on a trip soon. Nice. Yeah, so Adapie was asking, like, if I want my channel to be strictly Silent Hill focused or if I want to do other things with it. I definitely want to do other things as well. I want Silent Hill always to be a focus, but I don't want it to be the only thing that I talk about, because there's just so many things that I'm interested in. I like to read books. I have a lot of thoughts on books versus movie adaptations of things. I'd like to make a video about that. I've been doing great, man. I've been in the gym, hitting it hard. Still recovering from a very, very tough leg day a couple days ago. Quads are kind of murdered. I did goblin squats, where you hold the dumbbell like this, you know, upside down palms and squat with it. 50-pound dumbbells. But yeah, you know. Anyways, to make a long story short, yeah, I want it to be a focus, but I don't want it to be the only thing I talk about. Yes, my head injury is fully recovered now. I just have a slight little knot right here. That's about it. Need to get around to reading House of Leaves. Yeah, there's just a lot of things. Like, I want to talk about Jerome's Dream. I want to talk about Orchid, these late 90s hardcore bands. There's a lot of shit that I want to get to on the YouTube channel. And I'm not going to lie, I've had conversations with Future and with Bridget and with a lot of other people about just stopping streaming altogether, because it feels like a lot to focus on both channels at the same time. But the reality is, I don't want to stop streaming because I fucking love it. So it's this weird position where it's like I just want to do like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things. And yeah, so it's tough to materialize all of them, so to speak. And then of course I work full time outside of all of this content creation stuff. Like, I have a full-time job I have to focus on. It's a lot, man. It is a fucking lot. So I'm having to wrestle with the fact that there are simply not enough hours in the day to be able to do everything I want and also eat right, go to the gym, all these different things. Like, there just simply is not enough time in the day. But I do very much enjoy still. Oh, what happened? Oh, yeah. I don't think you were around, but I do have some photos of it. Basically, I just slipped really bad and hit my head. The injury could have been a lot worse than it ended up being. Let me see. Yeah, the injury could have been a lot worse than it ended up being. But this is what the bruising looked like. I had to mark it as a spoiler because it was I mean, it's not like gore or anything, but the bruising is really fucking bad. Oh, you did see it later. Yeah. Okay. I'd only say make streaming as manageable as you can. Just try not to disappear from Twitch. Yeah, because I think where my head is on that Adapai is like, you kind of need both. You need just grinding away in your video editor of choice, and you also kind of need live streaming to decompress from that. You know what I mean? Sitting at a computer, yeah. Sitting at a computer in your video editor can be fucking miserable. It's like you're at work. It's like you're grinding away on a project, you know, and it is what it is. It feels like work sometimes. A lot of times it feels like work, to be honest with you. So to decompress and get away from that feeling of like you're working, I like to go live, because going live is as easy as sitting here talking and clicking start stream. You know what I mean? It's fucking awesome. So I don't want to get rid of streaming, but I think, and I don't think a schedule is the answer either. You know, I've gone down that road so many times, and a defined schedule, I think, is for someone who's maybe doing this full time or has sponsor obligations to fill. But for me, the second that I create a set schedule, then there become days where the last thing I want to do is stream, and I have to do it anyway because the schedule, my self-imposed schedule, dictates that I must. You know what I mean? Yeah, schedule is not the answer. So many times I've got on here and said like, oh, I need a schedule. It doesn't work. Not for me. I'm not the type of person that can stream off of a schedule. I do my best streams when I just turn the shit on because I feel like talking. That's when I do my best streams. That's how it's always been, and I think that's how it always will be. And unfortunately, that means that there might be 3 or 4 days between streams every now and then, but, you know, that it is what it is. I hate that term because it's so overused, but in this case, like, what else is there really for me to say? So, anyways, yeah, that was a really good conversation I had with Future just about what I wanted this to be, and I think ultimately what I want my stream to be. I don't want to stop it anytime soon. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I ain't getting any younger. But, you know, I got a few more years of trying my hardest at this before I feel like it's time to hang it up and move on to other endeavors. I've got a few more years. So it's not like I gotta hang it up and just quit doing it now, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the thing you gotta remember, just like playing fucking video games, this is supposed to be fun. It shouldn't be a stressful fucking thing that you gotta mull over every single day. God, do I want to go live or do I not? It's like going live should be something you think about in a positive way. It's like, yeah, I should go live tonight. That would be fun. If you say so, old man. Yeah, true. Boomer alert. Is he wrong? He is not wrong. But yeah, it's like, it reminds me a lot of those people who play video games and get so mad at them that they break their stuff. Like they break their keyboard, they break their mouse, they're clearly in a horrible mood, they, you know, tons of anger. And it's like, man, aren't games supposed to be fun? Even if you're losing, you can still have fun. You can, and the way that you can make fun is you can make content out of it. You know? Getting stomped in a multiplayer game doesn't mean that you have to get mad. I've been doing great. I have to say. I know it sounds like I'm in kind of a negative headspace right now. I promise I'm not. I'm just in one of those like transitional periods for the stream. And we went through one of these a couple of years ago when I decided that I wasn't going to, I'll be honest, there was a time where I was like, I'm going to be like strictly a Silent Hill streamer. I was like, I'm not touching any other game franchise. I wanted to be the outer heaven of Silent Hill. That's what I wanted my channel to be. There was a time, okay? But then as time went on, I'm like, I just don't want to be that restricted to one franchise, especially because at that time we didn't know of all the new games that were coming out. I think the Silent Hill 2 remake hadn't even been announced yet. So that could not continue the way that it was. It just wasn't going to work. But it's just, you know, the way I'm feeling right now is just, I just want to turn the stream on and just have a good time. I don't want to worry about a game every single stream. It's like we have to have a game to play. If I really feel like playing something and I'm just super in the mood for a playthrough of whatever or to try something new out, I will. But I'm not going to make that as much of a priority as I have in the past. No way. It's just very hard to untrain yourself from habits that you picked up from just years and years and years ago. Like I said, I love Silent Hill and it's been a huge part of my life, but I wouldn't want to watch or play it every day. Same. You know, I think that much like a good relationship, a little bit of distance is healthy, you know? So a little bit of distance from Silent Hill, taking a solid break from it every now and then is an incredibly healthy thing. And then when I come back to it, I can appreciate it that much more. But, and this is where I want to give a major shout out to Future, is it was just a very reassuring conversation because here's the thing. We just need to sit here and watch you play SH4 till the end of time and give a 70-minute rant on that final boss each time. That's peak content. I peaked. I admit it. Red-handed, I've been caught. I peaked. Adipie said, I smurf where you peak. Fake gamer. Anyway, I want to give credit to Future because I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think I'm good at talking, linguistics, so to speak. Holding conversation or whatever. For some reason, I just don't feel like I'm very good at it. But Future tells me that that's the best part of my content. He was very open and honest with me, and he said that. So, if that's how people feel, then you know what? That's awesome. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I'm happy to hear it regardless. So if that's how he and other people feel, then hey, let's have these fucking conversations. I will yap all motherfucking day. Don't think I won't. You better have a couple of AFK streams so I can save up points for Akumu mode. Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, this summer, that is going to be our goal. We are going to complete Evil Within 1 Akumu, and I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to watch some videos. I'm going to learn some strategy. But I don't want to learn too much. I don't want to like sit and grind practice off stream because then what's the fucking point? I just want to basically see something and see if I can replicate it, and then it is what it is. If I can't perfect the strat, then we just won't do it. But that is going to be my goal for this summer, like probably late May, early June, is to do that. We are going to figure it out. We're going to beat that shit. That's been a goal of mine for a very long time. And one area I realized I fucked up is, so yeah, you don't have to spend any points on it. I promise I will do it. One area where I fucked up is, did you guys know that the Windows version of Evil Within 1 PC got an optimization and visual patch that the Steam version did not? So that's where I fucked up. I was playing the Steam version, which is unoptimized. It has enemy AI issues, hitbox issues, lots of visual glitches and artifacts that the Windows Store version doesn't have. I didn't fucking know that. Why would it be that way? Has there ever been a game ever that got more updates on the Windows Store version than the Steam version? I don't know of any. What a fucking stupid, circumstance going on here. So that's the case. The Windows Store version, yes, the Windows Store version has what's called the Fighting Chance Pack, which was originally, I think, either a GameStop or a Best Buy pre-order exclusive code, where it gives you a better shotgun, freeze bolts, and it lets you start out with a bunch of syringes so you can full heal. And the Fighting Chance Pack is built into the Windows Store version of the game. So it comes with the DLC. You get better weapons, you get better hitboxes, less glitches, less visual fuck-ups, and the optimization, the performance in general is much better. So we are going to run the Windows Store version this time. I already bought it for $20 several months ago when I learned this. So Akumu was pay to win seriously, actually. And you know what's hilarious is the devs, Tango Gameworks, they even said that Akumu was basically created as a joke. Like they just created it as a cruel joke to see, how impossibly difficult they could make the game. They never intended for people to take it seriously and actually do it as a challenge. They didn't account for the fact that there's low IQ idiots like me out here. But I think that's so sick, is it not? A mode where anything can kill you. in one hit, no matter how fucking trivial it is. It could be a rock gets thrown across the screen and scrapes your knee and it kills you. That's fucking cool if you're able to do that, especially if you're able to speedrun that. That's sick. I love modes like that. One hit kill modes, and then you watch somebody that's just really, really skilled at it, like Jigsaw Killer, make it look like child's play, you know? Just fucking looping the enemies, kiting them around the level, you know, disarming all the traps, getting all the trap parts first try. I think it just looks really cool in motion when you're good at it. The only problem is it takes a long fucking time to get good at it. That's the biggest issue. I was playing the new Katamari Damacy. I remember the first one on PS2, and let me just say the soundtrack of that one is fucking amazing. That is one of the best PS2 soundtracks ever. And Katamari Damacy is a perfect example of a game that would never happen nowadays. Never, ever, ever would it happen. I mean, you have like a rainbow and a cow and a fucking 4chan god. Oh yeah, I saw some stuff about that. I saw some person on Twitter talking about Jannies. What is a Janny? Or did I just say like some internet slur that I'm not aware of? Somebody was talking about how 4chan Jannies were getting like doxxed or something. I should probably stop saying that word considering I don't know what the fuck it means. Oh, okay. Oh, is it like the internet janitor thing where they call moderators internet janitors? I bet that's what it is. Like a mod with less power. Okay. If 4chan's dead, rip Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, seriously. The way that the internet cycle goes is something is posted on 4chan and Reddit too, don't forget. Something is posted on 4chan. And then somebody takes a screenshot and then they run to Twitter with it and they make a viral Twitter post with it. And then someone on Instagram takes that Twitter post and makes a viral Instagram post about it. It's like the cycle of the internet. It was a huge meme. They do it for free. Oh my God. Some 4chan moderators were actually paid to do that. I thought the big thing with that site was that they allow virtually everything as long as it's not illegal though. I might have just answered my own question. The moderators probably remove illegal content. Reddit is just 4chan with segregation. What the fuck? Oh my God. I had a friend in college that was super into the B section of 4chan. There were a lot of rules actually. Yeah, you can tell I didn't frequent the site very much, but I did think that like the gaming shit posting section was genuinely really funny. There was like the Wojak memes that were going around a few years ago. There was the Wojak meme that was going around a few years ago. And it was like whenever WoW Classic came out, it was like some Wojak with like a ton of stink lines and like a really fucked up beard. And they were trying to claim he was like an over 30s neck beard. Still living at home, just hype for WoW Classic. And he was just playing it and doing that fucking, the soy vibrate. And he just goes, OMG, it's so hard, just like I remember. It's so fucking stupid. Paranormal board was my shit. I only learned a 4chan through Net Historian and r/gaming leaks and rumors. Dude, 4chan is the epicenter of bullshit gaming leaks. Seriously, it's always like, hello, I am Japanese QA tester, and I was given a copy of Resident Evil 10, dude, and I played it, and I quality tested it, and it will be coming to a home near you very soon. And then everybody takes it, oh my god, soy facing, and oh my god, dude, Resident Evil 10 confirmed, dude. They did the biggest legitimate leak I think that ever happened was Sora being in Smash, because what happened with that was actually kind of dumb. It was in the gaming section, okay, and someone said, I work at Disney of America, like their or no, it wasn't Disney of America. He was like, I work in Disney's music department, and a representative from Nintendo of America just called me and asked for like a license on some Kingdom Hearts music. Sora is the final character in Smash. And everybody was like, oh, you're so full of shit. And there was even people like, I'm bookmarking this and I'm just going to talk shit when it turns out to not be true. It was true. The leak was true. So maybe the person didn't work at Disney. I can guarantee you they probably got fired though. But whoever they were, they did know that information because they definitely called it like 6 months in advance. So there have been some, yeah, and like the Red Dead Redemption 2 map leak, like there have been some genuine leaks that have happened there, but it is still the epicenter of bullshit rumors, regardless of how many have turned out to be true. The Sora one was pretty cool though. And then I don't remember for sure, but I think somebody said Sephiroth leaked on there too. But I don't know for sure. I don't know the details on that one. I only really knew the details of the Sora one because I was watching Hungry Box at the time when he reacted to Sora or whatever. And he was just fucking shrieking that the leak was true. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is he talking about? Oh, yeah. No, I will. So, you guys clearly already know, but yeah, Nintendo is going to be upping the price big time. What is it? $80 is the new standard price for a Nintendo Switch 2 game. Maybe even $90. We don't know for sure yet. And the thing is, $60 has been the standard price of a video game since what, the late 90s, early 2000s. I remember original Xbox games being $60 when they were brand new. So $60 was kind of an arbitrary, just randomly agreed upon price anyway. And 80 for Mario Kart, 90 for the Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition, GTA 6, 100 USD. Here we go. Oh no, haven't they already said that it's going to be 100? And there have already been some like incredibly wealthy streamers defending it, saying I'm okay if they spend if they spend $250 million developing the game. I'm okay if they want to charge $100 for it. And I get that, but you got to understand that they're going to be charging microtransactions like the shark card bullshit they did with GTA 5. So they're probably going to end up making that money back in like a weekend anyway. GTA 5 sold so well that it increased the US's GDP, which is our global domestic product, meaning the amount of product we provide globally. That percentage went up because of how well GTA 5 sold. Globally, our position amongst world leaders increased because of how well that fucking game sold. So I can only imagine what 6 is going to do. Just legally buy all games for free. Yeah, dude. Just wait for a sale. Yeah, Nintendo stuff never goes on sale. So they want $80 for Mario Kart, $90 for Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 edition. A game that's been out for what, 2 years now? When did Tears of the Kingdom come out? 1 year, 2 years ago? So we now have a situation where they're going to set the prices how they're going to set them. And we basically have little to no recourse to say anything or do anything about it. It's like, what are we going to do? Just not buy the games and just not play them? Between you and me, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not saying everybody's going to do that. And at the same time, funny to think GTA Online was initially thought of as just a trivial side component to the base game, like with 4. Yeah, like GTA Online, especially like in GTA 4, was originally thought to just be a fun little sandbox mode with a couple of modes. There was like a deathmatch mode, and I don't think there was a heist. Like GTA 4 had a couple of really minor modes in it. It didn't have anything too major. And then when 5 came out, they turned it into a whole fucking thing. And let's not forget that there's a whole thing outside of what Rockstar intended, which is RP. So now there's roleplay servers like NoPixel, which are legitimate, like, isn't NoPixel like valued in like the tens of millions of dollars, like valuation as a company? Are they a publicly trading company? NoPixel is a massively popular GTA 5. While there's no specific valuation, NoPixel's, yeah, so there's no specific valuation. But they did say that it costs $10,000 per month to keep it running. Yeah, dude, it costs $10,000 to keep NoPixel running. Like, NoPixel has like actual genuine rappers and shit on it. Like, doesn't Blueface play NoPixel? Like, there's legitimately big music artists that play on NoPixel. Very, very wealthy. Like, I think XQC has stake in NoPixel. Like, he owns a certain percentage of the server, like 15% of it or something. I don't know. Anyways, it is incredibly popular, and I can only imagine what they're thinking of in terms of possibilities for GTA 6. We're going to have people... What we thought was someone no-lifing World of Warcraft or whatever online game. There was a game called Second Life that a lot of people literally no-lifed in the 2000s. If you guys remember Second Life, that was a very weird, like, MMO. It wasn't an MMORPG. It was just an MMO, like, role-playing game. Oh, no. I guess it was a literally MMORPG, but whatever. So we're going to have people who are genuinely living a fucking life inside of GTA 6 RP, never turning the camera on, just not showering, not leaving, fucking just rolling out of bed, gross as fuck, logging on to Twitch, no camera ever, and pretending to be whatever their GTA character looks like for the next however many years after the PC port of that game comes out. I don't, dude, it's going to be Twitch. Whenever GTA 6 comes out, be prepared for your entire Twitch feed to be fucking obliterated and full of people playing nothing but that for the next at least 90 days before the hype dies down. We're talking 2013 on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, and that's what happened with 5. The PC port wasn't even out yet, and everybody on Twitch was playing that game. Will I play it? I don't own a console, so probably not. Unless somebody lets me borrow their console, but I don't even think I'm that interested in playing it that I would even bother doing that. But be prepared, okay? What I'm talking about with Second Life is we thought, no clue if you've heard of DNSL, but he has a bunch of short videos of him interacting with people who genuinely live in Second Life. It's insane. No, dude. When I was growing up, there was either an HBO or like a Showtime special about addicted gamers. Okay, it really existed. And they focused on this one guy who basically he lived in Tornado Alley, and a tornado had shredded his town, and he had no power and no internet. So he called the ISP and he asked them to like custom dig a hole in the ground outside of his house. He was a wealthy guy. And run him a personal internet line that he paid thousands of dollars for. And then he also got a gas-powered generator just so he could play WoW while the town was being rebuilt after a tornado had devastated it. So I know all about the lengths that people will go to play their games and no life their games, dude. Like it's and this was like 2005 or 6 that this documentary came out. Foreshadowing, yes. I think that the way that, and people do that on GTA 5 now. People at 13% Epic Yarn. People absolutely do that with GTA 5 RP right now. They go to sleep, they wake up, they eat, sleep, game, repeat, dude. That's what they do. They go on stream, no camera, just the game, and they role play as their character. They got their little voice changers on, and they're, you know, playing their role. They're going to their job, or they're being a cop, or whatever it is, going through police training or whatever. They stream 13, 14, 15, 16 hours. They go to bed for 4 hours. Then they're immediately back on playing as their other character. I'm like, what are you doing? Touch grass, dude. Holy shit. I just have never really gotten into RP servers, really. And then there's also RP servers with themes. Like I know in Gary's mod, they had like Star Wars themed RP where you could pretend to be a Jedi or a Sith. And I don't know, man. For the same reason I can't get into D&D. Like I've had so many friend groups invite me to D&D sessions and stuff. And I'm just like, man, I love you guys and everything, but that's just not for me. I'm sorry. Like that's just not my thing. I would much rather go get my fucking eardrums assaulted at a hardcore show at some dive bar than I would play a D&D session. That's just me. That's always been me. Reminds me of that how unemployed motherfuckers act when they need to wake up and play GTA tomorrow. Yeah. Touch, sex, have grass. The devil's lettuce? Never. Zip it. Don't you ever mention that in my chat ever again. I'm so mad I can barely contain my smile. That's how you know I'm mad. Yeah, being unemployed is very stressful for me. I hate it so fucking much. There's some people who thrive in that environment. And when the pandemic hit, I had some friends who got laid off, unfortunately, and they kind of had to be on the phone to like make sure their unemployment checks came through so they could pay necessary stuff. But the sad part is some of them were making more money on unemployment than they were working at their job. I thought that was really fucked up. Just the fact that they were being paid more to not work than they would if they were doing like laborious shit at their job. I tried D&D once and I wanted to die, man, and this was with people I've known for years. Life hack unlocked? No, it was limited. Because here's the thing. If you're unemployed, or if you run into a situation where you get laid off and you're completely approved for unemployment benefits, which is awesome, and I love that option exists, in the back of my head, the only thing I'm going to be saying to myself is, eventually this is going to run out. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be saying, eventually, I won't have this anymore. And it might seem cool now, it might seem cool tomorrow, but if I don't focus up and start looking for something, I'm going to end up in a situation where I only have a few weeks left, a few days left, and then I'm going to be fucked. So I was in that situation for just a handful of months back in like 2015, and I just hated it. Very early 2015, I got fired because of attendance issues. Long story. They'd eventually let me come back to the same job after just No, it's not super glue, it's Carmex, it's lip balm. It's very cold and dry here, so I've got chapped ass lips. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, when I was between jobs and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, I just was fucking miserable because it's like, yes, I am good now. Like I had a decent savings and everything. I'm good now, but like this is eventually going to run out, and it just stressed the fuck out of me. And I just decided then and there that like I didn't want to be between jobs ever again if I could help it. So, but absolutely, it's not. I mean, most of the time when I hear about my friends losing jobs, it has nothing to do with their performance or their inability to show up. They just get laid off. You know, either the money's not there or what have you, and it sucks because it's not their fault. But, you know, thankfully in a lot of states, not every state, but in a lot of states, if a situation happens like that where you get furloughed, you get laid off, it's no fault of yours, then you do qualify for unemployment benefits and you can collect those while you're looking for a new job. The only unfortunate thing is, while a lot of my friends, you know, they were doing fine on that, there were some who were like, oh, dude, this is awesome because you can just like, you know, you can say that you're looking for a job just by like going to the unemployment office and filling out like one application a month or something. And, you know, you don't even have to accept it, you know, like just basically artificially extending it. But I just hate that, man. That's what scared me out of pursuing a job in gaming. You can be disposed of so easily. It's brutal. Dude, how about streaming? Looking for a job in streaming or trying to make streaming a full-time thing is the most stressful shit in existence, because not only are you self-employed and you're completely responsible for like all of your deductions and different things out of the money that you do make, it is so goddamn difficult to be live as often as you would need to make ends meet. That's honestly the hardest part. If you want to genuinely make it as a streamer, I mean, I'm just throwing numbers out there, but this is based on what I've seen. If you want to genuinely make it as a streamer, you probably need to average higher than 1,500 viewers. Probably. And you would need to keep around 400 to 500 subscribers on top of bits and direct donations and stuff like that to even scratch the surface of being a full-time streamer. That's what you would have to look at. And we're talking about very entry level. We're not talking about being able to afford a car. We're talking about being able to pay bills and occasionally buy food. Those are the type of numbers you're looking at. And consider the fact that if you average 10 or more viewers, that puts you in the top 25% of Twitch. So it just really puts things into perspective how difficult it is to make something like this a full-time job, which is why I recommend not thinking about it that way, because if you think about it as some type of obligation or as some type of job, then obviously it's not going to work. The chances of it happening are low. Sure, you could be this 1 in a million situation. I've seen YouTubers with like 400K subs who had a wife and a kid who said it isn't working out and they needed full-time jobs. 100%. YouTube, but that brings in a whole different issue. YouTube is a hair trigger to demonetize you. They will demonetize you over the most menial shit. And so you could put all this time and effort into a video, grinding your ass off, editing this fucking video for 3 straight weeks, however long it takes. You upload the video, and because one moron decided to falsely claim a 2-second clip of your video as copyrighted material, they demonetize you. The video's already out there, and it gets demonetized during its prime, viewership, and then you basically make nothing off of it. That can happen with any video you've put any amount of time in. So yeah, we look at numbers and we say, wow, this YouTuber, like, they have 400, 500,000 subs. They must be very wealthy. They must be doing great. But the reality is no, not at all. Not until you have probably 800,000 are you clean, like you're good. You're probably making enough that you don't have to worry about your bills at that point. It is it's very, very difficult to make things like that work. and I've seen it too. You look at YouTubers even with 100,000 subs. I've seen some YouTubers with 80, less than 100,000 subs that are doing well because they're getting sponsors. Every single video, they're like, shout out to this video sponsor, Squarespace or fucking Raycons, or funny enough, even Soylent is apparently doing a bunch of ad space on YouTube now. So if you do a lot of brand deals, you can make pretty good scratch on YouTube. No lie. You can do really well on YouTube if you sell a lot of those, but you have to. This kind of goes back to a conversation I had with another fighting game streamer recently. You have to be really good at communicating to close those deals. You have to be good at emailing the right people back and forth to say, hey, I have enough eyes on my channel. This is what my content is about. I think it's perfect to market your stuff. And you have to be, that's a whole other skill that you have to have. You basically have to be your own agent. You have to be your own, your own agent. You have to reach out to these companies and secure these brand deals and sell this ad space. Because those companies see your channel as a billboard, and the higher that subscriber number is, the larger the billboard, and that's why they want to work with you. But they're not even going to entertain the conversation unless they see at least 50,000 people. I would say that's bare minimum. You would need probably 50,000 people for them to start sending you free product for you to market, to start selling you, mid-rolls or whatever, so you could say, thanks to our sponsor or whatever it happens to be. The bigger the number, the larger the billboard. NordVPN, ExpressVPN is another one. Yeah. If I hear Squarespace one more time, what the fuck even is Squarespace? Isn't Squarespace an e-commerce? It's like an e-commerce template website, right? So you could set up an online store for merch and different things if you wanted to, and you just build it on that platform. I think that's what it is. But yeah, just because a YouTuber has 400,000 subscribers doesn't mean that on the back end they're doing well. I've even seen YouTubers, now this is rare, but I've seen some YouTubers with over 1 million that can't get any traction because the style of videos that they make are not advertiser friendly. And so they have to constantly struggle to make ends meet and just put out video after video after video. Even if the views are high and the AdSense is there, they keep getting demonetized and they just can't get it to where it needs to be. I've heard SkillUp explain what Squarespace is 600 times and I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know either. As soon as I hear someone mention the word Squarespace, I warm up the wrist and just mash the right arrow key until I don't have to hear it anymore. That's what I do every time. But I'll tell you right now, I need some water because I'm dying. We have been talking relentlessly for like an hour now. Who is Skill Up? That sounds really familiar. Oh yeah, there's actually an extension at Apai that automatically detects sponsored segments and skips them for you. Game Reviewer. That's my favorite extension ever. No, I did not drink. I drank like, this is a half-gallon bottle, so I probably drank, I don't know, a quarter. No, not a quarter. I didn't drink half the bottle, but I drank a lot. All right, anyways. Nice new profile. Hey, appreciate that, man. Future Mute made it. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. What song is this? This is Different Persons from the Shattered Memories soundtrack. This one? Yeah, this is called Different Persons from the Shattered Memories soundtrack. But yeah, Future Mute drew this for me. From scratch, by the way. He drew this profile picture, and I'm a huge, huge fan of it. As you probably have seen, I already made it my Discord profile picture. And Twitch and YouTube, so I'm fond of it. So does, shall we say. I like it a lot. It just, you know, it just fits the aesthetic very well. Yeah, Shattered Memories is a great game. Fuck the haters. SH soundtracks are the embodiment of early grunge 2000s, absolutely. Especially 2 and 3. They have a lot of grungy guitar tracks going on. But yeah, you know, Twitch is very stressful to make into a full-time job, and that's why I don't have any aspirations to do such a thing. I respect the work that it takes, but I watch some people stream that I know do it full-time, and I can just see the worry in their face and the stress in their eyes, especially when tax season rolls around. Oh my god. Dude, when tax season rolls around and it's maybe late March until this time right now, pay attention to some of your favorite streamers that you know do this full-time, and you can see the stress in their face and the worry about financial stuff. Every year, man. Every year. Yeah, it's that bad because when you have an employer and you get paychecks from that employer and they're cutting you checks, so to speak, they take out all the taxes, the state taxes, the local taxes, province, county, whatever the fuck, federal, state, everything in between. They take out all the taxes, okay? When you work for yourself, that doesn't happen. So you have to manually do that yourself. And if you don't do it, then when you file your taxes, you're going to owe a shit ton of money. So the best way to do it, it is, Siren, it is. Even Twitch, for me, this stream does not, okay, I'm not a delusions of grandeur type guy, okay? This stream brings in decent side money, and I'm extremely appreciative of that. But when I do my taxes, yes, it is a fucking nightmare. Because I gotta get a form from Twitch, and I gotta input all this information, and it complicates it to the point that it takes several more days to process. Like, so I can only imagine if someone had 2 or 3 or 4 different forms of income, how much of a nightmare it must be. But the general rule of thumb is that you need to, if you get, say, $1,000 check from Twitch, okay, you need to take immediately $300 of that and put it away and don't touch it. Because that's about what you're going to owe in taxes. So just go ahead and put 300 of it away, do not touch it, but you know, shit happens. So what if you're going throughout the year and you get a flat tire or whatever possibly happens and you got to dig into that savings. So if you have to dig into the savings that was then supposed to go to your taxes, what happens when tax time rolls around? You're going to still owe that money. That bill isn't going anywhere. So you're fucked. That's why streaming is stressful. Being self-employed in general is stressful. I'm guessing you hire someone at that point. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Almost every big streamer will tell you they have a guy, or they have a CPA, a certified personal accountant, or a tax attorney. There's several different types of people that'll do that work for you. But you basically just pay them, you know, a decent chunk of money, and you give them all the documents they're going to need, and they will file your taxes for you and make sure that they're following all the laws and regulations and certifications and everything, making sure that everything is above board and you're good to go, no legal issues, nothing like that. Takes several hours because a lot of the forms have incorrect info, or you have to manually input tons of small things every fucking time, dude. Every time. Like, certain types of forms, they consider self-employed income to be considered royalties or taxes or some shit, or royalties or tips. So if you're self-employed and you make a certain amount of money, some tax programs will have you enter that as like tips. It's fucking bizarre, man. I can't even begin. I don't know if you're from the US, Adipie, but I can't even begin to get into some of the clusterfuck tax stuff that we have to deal with in the US. Oh yeah, oh my god, yeah. I'm so glad that every time that question comes up, I can answer no, because I bet if I answered yes, it would make my taxes a fucking nightmare if I was messing with crypto. Nah, but I'm not, but I'm aware of how fucked it can be there. Yeah, yeah. And it's not any better in like Canada. I hear Canada is fucked for taxes too. Their tax rates are even higher than ours, I think. Based on what people like Bokbasoup and Catlink have said. A couple horror streamers that talk about it a lot. So it's not as if you can go up north and it's like, oh, there's, you know, no taxes. No, they have very, very high taxes, in fact. And there's not a whole lot you can do to get around that. But at the end of the day, you got to do it. You know, what's that saying? There's only a couple things guaranteed in life: is death and taxes. The feds already know everything we do. It's just a humiliation ritual at this point. Yeah. Yeah. There's a famous saying, I don't know if it originated from someone in the US, but they said there's only two things guaranteed in life, and that's death and taxes. And boy, are they right. And the funny thing is, in America too, that anytime money exchanges hands, in most scenarios, the government takes a cut. If you wire transfer money from one bank to another, there's a fee. That fee eventually goes to taxes. If you buy anything at any store, you pay sales tax. That sales tax. So it's like anytime money is exchanged, here comes Uncle Sam to take his cut, you know? But we're not going to get into this conversation because then we'd have to get into where that tax money goes, and that's a whole other can of worms that we don't need to get into right now. For obvious reasons. Are there any tragic murder investigations? Ooh, let's find out. Great question. Let's find out if there is, because I'm in the mood. Just kidding. It's always a little bit disturbing to watch these, but I'm in the mood to watch the videos themselves, if that makes sense. The content of them is disturbing, but the idea of seeking out these videos and watching them with you guys is cool. Just in case anybody thinks that I like derive pleasure from watching this true crime stuff. The fun is in watching it with you guys, not the content. Okay, let's see. What's Chilling Scares got here lately? He uploads real... Ooh, serial killers that are still on the loose today. Sound good? It's a 22-minute video. Definitely piqued my interest already. I was just watching soldiers from different countries exchange MREs before your stream, so glad to get depressing. Dude, my brother actually brought back one of those, I believe. It was like a spaghetti MRE, and it was fucking disgusting. It just tasted really powdery. But most of those MREs, which I'm sure most of you guys know, but it's meal ready to eat, meaning if they're in the field or in action, they can just eat it right then and there, and it's totally sanitary. So of course they're packed with like fucking chemicals and preservatives up the ass, everything imaginable to make it last like forever on a shelf. And yeah, there's like bolognese is one of them. There's spaghetti. There's a bunch of different ones. Macaroni is one. And you basically just open a bunch of packets and pouches and you can eat it right there in the field. Okay, well, we are clearly going to have to make... I think I said spaghetti. We are clearly going to need to make a second scene for this. $8.27. I'm just going to have to go through one night and grind out a whole scene strictly for reaction content. That way I don't have to keep manually adjusting my scenes every time I do this. Because that just reeks of unprofessionalism, dude. And we got to get this open in Chrome. Google Chrome.
Became.
I accidentally pressed a number on the numpad. Alright. Let's put it up there. Alright, that should be good enough. I should be mostly out of the way. Stampede G eats spaghetti MRE. Gonna bring in 3 million views. I can feel it. Where do you even get MREs? My brother was in the army like in 2011. So obviously I don't have any way to get one. Can you? Surely you can't just order them, right? At the tank store? Oh, like a military surplus store?
Vending machine killer. On April 30th,
Well, there's a start. Fucking vending machine killer? How is that?
1985, a 45-year-old truck driver stopped near a vending machine in Fukuyama, Japan. He was exhausted.
Ooh, you know what? This brings up a good point. I wish more of these focused on foreign countries, because most of these videos almost always focus strictly on the US, and there's a lot of these very disturbing cases that I don't know about because I don't know anything about the history of countries like Japan with things like this. So I actually would like if more I actually would like if more videos focused on things that happened in other countries. Thought he was going to open
from work and was looking for an energy drink to help him
I was
power
going to jokingly say it was Japan based on the name.
through the rest of the day. When he approached the vending machine, however, he noticed something surprising. A bottle of Oranaminsi energy drink was already in the pickup tray. Thinking he'd lucked down on a free drink, the truck driver wasted no time.
Hey,
chugging
I believe that's one of the drinks that the Silent Hill health drinks are based on. The other one is called Lipovitin or Lipovitin.
down. What he didn't know was that this would be the last drink he would ever taste.
Oh my God,
Instead
Sarah.
of the refreshing feeling he was looking for, he felt something horribly wrong with his body. A bitter, burning sensation quickly spread throughout his throat, followed by an intense wave of nausea. It wasn't long before he was lying on the road in excruciating pain. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors discovered a lethal amount of paraquat dichloride in his system. Paraquat is an herbicide that was quite common in Japan at the time. More importantly, it's also highly...
Oh, what's up, Monter? Lil Monster. That's a name I fucking love to see in the chat. Yeah, we're watching serial killers that are still on the loose today. That's what I say. Get that nightmare fuel right in there. He got paraquat in him. Yeah. It's an herbicide, they said. What is that banana peel icon you have? Gone bananas? Explain yourself. This instant.
toxic to humans. When ingested, it can lead to severe nausea, throat inflammation, internal chemical burns, and eventually death. This is also why it's been banned completely from over 70 countries to date. Unfortunately, despite knowing the reason for his illness, there was nothing the doctors could do to save his life. There's no antidote for the deadly chemical today, let alone back then. So, after hanging on to his life for a month, the truck driver passed away on the 30th of May 1985. At first, investigators assumed that given the nature of his work, he might have accidentally encountered the toxic substance while on duty. However, after reviewing his haul records, they found no trace of this herbicide or anything remotely linked to it. This left them with only one conclusion. The chemical was mixed into the drink he consumed just moments before collapsing in agony.
Forgot to mention earlier, Stan, but I'm pretty disappointed to not see you drinking Saratoga still water. That's the secret to health. Oh yeah, now I have to wake up and I have to waste a bunch of fruit by putting it into a bowl, dumping the Saratoga in it, and like, you know, soaking my face, and then just throwing all the fruit in the garbage, right? That's the secret to good health. Fuck yourself. Not you, Adipie, but that marketing thing that's going on right now. He killed oh my god. Well, I think Silent Hill Origins does take place in the late 80s.
But with no leads or concrete evidence, they couldn't determine whether it was a murder or self-inflicted act, resulting in the case getting shelved for the time being. Now, while this might sound absurd today, you have to understand that Paraquat was readily available in the country at the time. You didn't need any prescription or identification to purchase the chemical, leading to over 1,400 people using it as the poison of their choice in 1984 alone. In other words, the possibility of it being self-inflicted was just as high. However, just as the investigators were about to give up on this case completely, they received tragic news. Another person had fallen victim to the same poison after consuming Oranaminsi on the 5th of September. Then another 6 days later, and one more 2 weeks after that. By this point, it was clear that someone was deliberately...
How were they poisoning this, though? Were they able to get a syringe through the lid or something? Because isn't that a glass bottle? Gotta let me see what they said first, Mr. Fast Fingers. It was just one of those bullshit best viewers on streamboo.com remove the space idiots.
Deliberately poisoning vending machine drinks across Japan. This was the work of a deranged serial killer. Unfortunately, this supposed killer was also
remove the seal and put it back on, yeah.
He didn't leave any fingerprint or DNA evidence on the drinks he tampered with, and only targeted vending machines with no CCTV cameras nearby. As for why his victims willingly drank the unknowingly poisoned drinks he left behind, that had to do with the buy one get one free promotion Oranaminsi was running around the time to entice younger consumers. However, since some people only wanted the one drink, they often left the second free drink near the vending machine as a gift for the next person. This was common enough that people...
Yep, so the culture was, because this promotion was happening, they would leave a free one for somebody else to drink, so this dipshit got the idea to poison the second one. What if it happened at the factory? Maybe. With videos like this, I swear, I never know what the next thing is going to be, so it very well could have been like a disgruntled employee. We'll have to find out.
Didn't find the laced drinks suspicious and drank them without a second thought. Sadly, this method was terribly effective. By the end of the year, this mysterious vending machine killer had claimed the lives of 12 victims and had severely injured 35 more. But as I mentioned earlier, this killer was a master of hiding his tracks. He operated all across western and central Japan, as well as Tokyo, making it near impossible for investigators to pinpoint his location. The lack of evidence also made it difficult to figure out his motive. Some speculated that he was doing all this to extort money from Otsuka Pharmaceutical, the company that made Oranaminsi. This is because in 1984, a group called the Mystery Men with 21 Faces threatened to poison food products unless the companies paid them money. So,
okay, I want to know more about that. Who are the Mystery Men with 21 Faces? Was it like a terrorist organization or what?
Some believed that the vending machine killer was a copycat and wanted something similar. However, this theory didn't last very long because Otsuka Pharmaceutical didn't receive any demands or extortion letters from the perpetrator. Additionally, the killer also began using other drinks, like the drink Real Gold and even Coca-Cola. Hiroaki Iwao, a Tokyo professor of criminal sociology, proposed a more disturbing theory regarding the killer's motives.
This is why I stick to energy drinks. Those will kill me eventually, so at least I'm ready for it. But also, too, if I go out buy Dr. Pepper, then shoot, I'm gonna die happy. That's all I'll say. Oh man, my brother fucking was so addicted to Dr. Pepper, he would drink like a 12-pack in maybe a couple of days, no lie. It was fucked up.
He stated, "It is not uncommon for Japanese who live under tremendous pressure, both on the job and in overcrowded communities, to let out their frustrations by hurting someone else. The person responsible may even wait around to see who buys the poisoned drink. He or she may find this is a kind of exhilarating release from the tensions of life in Japan." But even if this was the truth, it still didn't bring investigators any closer to catching the suspect. Left with no other options, the authorities turned to the public and launched a nationwide campaign on the 27th of September. They placed signs and distributed leaflets telling people to avoid suspicious
proudly
drinks and
infected
to properly inspect the cap seals on their beverages before consumption. They also instructed vending machine owners to investigate their stock for any anomalies and told chemical shops to monitor their customers more closely. It's unclear how effective this campaign was, as the number of victims kept increasing even after its launch. But then something unexpected happened. On the 17th of November, the murder spree stopped completely after the death of a 17-year-old girl. She was the only female to have died from the poisoning. It's possible that the person who committed these atrocities had a moral code against harming women. Though
You know what's
nothing more than
crazy,
a
though?
baseless
And I promise I'm not getting off on a big tangent. You know what's crazy about Japan is I've watched a lot of these day in the life of Japanese workers, and I've also watched a lot of these overnight food stall videos. You can actually walk at night in Japan in an area like this and be totally safe. Not saying everywhere, but it is just such a safe country overall. Like there's a video I like to watch of like this older guy, they call him the general or grandpa, who runs a ramen food stall. And he just operates in some random parking lot all night. And there's these two ladies that were like, yeah, we were out jogging and this place was marked restaurant on the map. So we decided to stop here and eat a bowl of ramen. Like two women just being able to freely jog in the middle of the night. That's like unheard of in the US. You know what I mean? It's crazy how safe that country is overall. I know this is an outlier fucked up situation, but overall Japan is a very safe place.
speculation. Due to the complete lack of evidence, the vending machine killer was never identified, cementing this case as one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries in Japanese history. Little Rock serial stabber. On April 11,
Arkansas?
2021, the Little Rock Police Department received a distress call from South Pulaski Street regarding a potential homicide. When they arrived at the scene, they found a middle-aged woman lying on the street with stab wounds all over her body. This woman turned out to be 41-year-old Deborah Walker. She was homeless at the time and was living on the streets when this incident happened. She was quickly taken to the hospital where medical staff discovered that she had been stabbed at least 15 times.
My hometown is basically a meth den, so it's definitely not safe. So Japan and Tokyo have a lot of disturbing urban legends and killers, though. Yeah, Singapore, Japan, and United Arab Emirates tend to be the safest for women from what I've seen. Yeah. It's fentanyl there. Yep. Mine is meth. There's actually a lot of meth labs, like in the very surrounding tiny little towns of my hometown. It's just well known to be a meth den. It just is what it is. It sucks.
Despite lying on the street, bleeding for what may have been hours, she miraculously survived and managed to regain consciousness
not
the
Jesse
same
Pinkman.
day. Investigators also visited
Why
her
are
in the
you
hospital
blue?
to gather any information she could provide about her attacker. Unfortunately, she was attacked somewhere between 1 and 4 a.m. It was still dark outside, and all that she saw was that her attacker was a tall, African-American male with a slender build. Now, in most other similar cases, such limited information would hardly be enough to generate any leads. But in this instance, the description Deborah provided left the investigators in disbelief. That's because her attacker's profile closely matched the perpetrator of another incident that took place about 8 months earlier in the surrounding area. The victim of that incident was 64-year-old Larry Eugene McChristian. He was living in Little Rock with his daughter Sarah, who was on probation at the time. On the 20th of August 2020, he had a medical emergency and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was discharged from the hospital the next morning. However, when the hospital staff
appreciate that,
I'm
Monster.
invested. I have no time for ads. RN Twitch Lilman 14 Walilman 14 Monta.
Walloon 14, Walloon 14. All right, Monster, do you need me to rewind any? I got you. Let me rewind a little bit for you. I got you. So they said that there was the suspect's profile matched the one of a suspect who also attacked this guy shortly before.
McChristian. He was living in Little Rock with his daughter Sarah, who was on probation at the time. On the 20th of August 2020, he had a medical emergency and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was discharged from the hospital the next morning. However, when the hospital staff tried to contact Sarah so she could pick him up, she wasn't answering her phone. So they gave Larry the information about a nearby homeless shelter and a bus token to get there. Later that day, Sarah came to the hospital looking for her father, only to learn that he'd been discharged hours ago. She then reached out to the homeless facility Larry was told about, but they didn't know anything about his whereabouts either. The only option she had was to file a missing persons report and wait for the police to find Larry. 2 days later, on the 24th of August, Sarah received the call she was waiting for. Tragically, it wasn't the news she had hoped for. According to the official report, the Little Rock Police Department found Larry's body on South Gaines Street at around 2 a.m. They identified him by the hospital discharge papers he had on him. More importantly, he had multiple stab wounds on his body and was unfortunately already dead by the time the police arrived. His death was declared a homicide, and the investigators began looking for clues almost immediately. This proved quite impossible at first, since there were no witnesses and there wasn't anything that could be used as evidence at the crime scene. However, after inspecting the surrounding houses, they had a major breakthrough. The CCTV camera outside a nearby house had captured the suspect walking down the street when suddenly he spots Larry
So how did he get away? How was he still on the loose?
and
If
begins
they had
walking
this.
towards him. After committing the crime, he tries leaving the area, only to stop, go back, and stab Larry one last time before fleeing. As mentioned earlier, this man matched the profile Deborah gave to the police, leading investigators to believe she was attacked by the same person. While looking into older cases, they also connected the same killer to another murder that happened in the area on September 23, 2020.
Apparently.
The victim of this incident was 62-year-old Jeff Welch, another homeless man who was living in an abandoned home. On the morning of that day, Jeff's friend found him on the porch of his house with a stab wound on his neck. By this point, the investigators knew they were dealing with a deranged serial killer. However, just as they uncovered the connection between the three attacks, another tragedy unfolded. On April 12, 2023, a day after the attack on Deborah Walker, another one of his victims was found on the Wright Avenue overpass. The only thing in common with these 4 attacks was that they all involved homeless individuals, and they all happened between 1 and 4 a.m. There seemed to be no clear pattern on how the perpetrator selected his targets. This left the
Oh my god, this reminds me of the Patrick Bateman shit. I know that movie's fiction, but he would target homeless people specifically because he felt like they were just, wasting people's time and resources and stuff. It's fucked up, but I wonder if this guy had a similar motive.
Rock community terrified to leave their homes, fearing they might become the next victim of the serial killer on the loose. After realizing the potential danger of this situation, LRPD began spreading awareness about the man who is now being referred to as the Little Rock Slasher. They also turned to the public to ask for any information they could provide on the matter, and even announced a $20,000 reward.
$20,000 off the
We
jump is a
also
lot.
need your help. If you have seen anything suspicious or have surveillance cameras on your homes or businesses in this area, please contact us at
Very true.
501.
Unfortunately, despite having CCTV footage of the suspect, the Little Rock Slasher was never caught. The case remains a mystery to this day. Or at least that's what the official reports say. While researching this case, I came across an Arkansas-based blog called the Snarky Media Report. The authors of this blog did their own investigation into the slasher case, and what they found was shocking to say the least. Put simply, they claim to have found the true identity of the killer after talking to multiple locals and Deborah, who, according to their blog, already knew the identity of her attacker. They also uncovered many details
Why
about
is this person not in jail?
supposed killer, including his criminal record, which reveals that he has already served 2 prison terms in Arkansas for felony convictions of domestic violence. Also, his history with drug abuse and how it made him very agitated and violent. The authors of this blog also claim to have contacted the alleged killer's previous landlord, who gave them this image of the perpetrator. Which begs the question, if they know so much about the slasher, including his legal name, why didn't they give this info to the police? That's where the case goes from creepy to bizarre.
Oh no, 100%. Have you seen all the cold cases that RBI, the Reddit Bureau of Investigation, that subreddit has actually solved a lot of cold cases? No bullshit. So there actually have been some instances where they were better at it than the law enforcement, crazy enough.
According to them, they've already given everything they had to the relevant authorities. Despite this, the Little Rock police didn't make any progression in catching the serial killer. Snarky Media also published a video of the Little Rock mayor and police chief refusing to answer questions about the case. This seems to hint at something incredibly shady going on behind the scenes. That said, there's no way for me to confirm if the authors of the Snarky Media blog are telling the truth. For all we know, their whole investigation is made up, and this is just some random guy who has nothing to do with the 4 attacks, and it's all a ploy to make the Little Rock Police Department look bad. Most of the information they've gathered seems to check out with what's released publicly by the authorities. The only discrepancy
well
in
have
their
been.
investigation is the age of the suspect.
From what they're saying here.
Officials believe the slasher to be young, possibly in his 20s, but the authors of this blog state that the person they found was 46 years old. Unfortunately, this is where the leads end. Whether Snarky Media is telling the truth or not remains uncertain. What is certain, however, is that the case remains unsolved to this day. The Little Rock Slasher is likely still out there and can continue his murder spree at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, you guys remember, I forget the guy's name, it was Daniel something, but there was a guy who was being targeted by the police department in his state or his city. I forget the guy's name, but it was a big deal for a while. Like, he had uploaded videos about them using like thermal imaging cameras around his house and shit. And that just kind of reminded me of it when I saw the mayor refusing to answer questions about it. I do know that there have been reported cases of a family member of someone who's higher up in law enforcement being guilty of a crime like that. And because the person who works with law enforcement doesn't want to take the damage to their reputation, they'll go out of their way to protect the person and hide their identity. So who knows? Maybe the person actually has been caught or like detained or something, and they just didn't make it a public thing because he had some type of relation to law enforcement. Who knows? Who knows? But it seems very unlikely. Yeah, no, that's definitely happened in the past.
Thanks to Trade Coffee for sponsoring. They are civic
Hey,
weather.
shout outs to him getting a sponsor, because no way in hell is this advertiser friendly content, but I'm gonna skip it. I love you chilling scares, but I'm gonna skip it.
Finally starting trade free. On
I thought this
February
was a movie.
17, 1997, 21-year-old Patrick McNeil went out with his friends. He spent the evening out drinking with his friends in the Dapper Dog Bar in Manhattan. During this time, he likely drank more than he could handle, resulting in him throwing up in the bar's bathroom before leaving in a highly unstable and disoriented state. Patrick was then seen turning left onto 90th Street, heading in the direction of the East River. This was the last time anyone would see Patrick alive. Following this night out, Patrick vanished into thin air. Despite extensive efforts, authorities found no leads or clues to his whereabouts. That is until April 7, 1997, when Patrick's lifeless body was found in the East River 50 days after his disappearance. Duty Sergeant of the NYPD's Special Investigation Division, Kevin Gannon, was called to the scene to assist with the body's recovery and
That is the most cop-looking guy. He has the most cop build you'll ever see in your life. I look at this guy and I just see him in a cop uniform.
examination. Kevin had been a seasoned detective for years, and by this point there was little that could surprise him. However, the circumstances surrounding Patrick's death disturbed him to his core. The more he looked into it, the more strange the situation became. For instance, Kevin noted that Patrick's body wasn't decomposed enough to have been floating in the river for a week, let alone the past 50 days. He also found burn marks on Patrick's body, hinting at the possibility of him being restrained prior to his death. Kevin knew that something wasn't right. Unfortunately, due to the complete lack of evidence pointing to the contrary, Patrick's death was ruled as an accident. Kevin kept thinking over this feeling for the next year before coming across a case that reinforced his suspicions even further. On February 13, 1998, another body was found in the same stretch of water. This body was later identified as 22-year-old Lawrence R. Andrews, who had gone missing on New Year's Eve after celebrating the event with his friends in Times
Both
Square.
after a party.
After getting on the case, it didn't take long for Kevin to notice eerie similarities between the two cases, as both bodies were found within yards of each other. Both of them were also young Caucasian males and were on track to have successful careers. They both disappeared in one of the most crowded cities in the world without any trace as well.
No, it was actually, if you listen to modern like Twitter pundits, it was violent video games.
Most importantly, Kevin also found similar oddities in both cases, where the bodies were a lot less decomposed than they should have been, and there were burn marks indicating possible restraints before their death. Lawrence's case prompted Kevin to look for other similar cases across the US. He enlisted the help of fellow detective Anthony Duarte and a criminal justice professor, Dr. Lee Gilbertson. Together, they began investigating these cases, and soon a chilling pattern began to emerge. In total, they found 45 different instances of young men dying under shockingly similar circumstances as Patrick and Lawrence. Most of them went out for a night of drinking, became more intoxicated than usual, disappeared shortly after, and were later found dead in some body of water. Almost all of them were also Caucasian and on track to have a high-paying career like engineering after college. Most disturbingly, however, they also found graffiti of smiley faces near the bodies of at least a dozen different victims.
Yeah, you know, there are some people in this world that are just born for certain things, and I truly believe that some people, like, they just find the perfect job, and some investigators use the most crazy shit imaginable to pin down specific killers, whether it's DNA analysis or, you know, like this, where they're cross-referencing different cases and finding similarities and stuff. Couldn't be me either, because I'm right there with you, Monster. I would look at this shit and I would make no such connection. I am very bad at thinking everything is a coincidence. That's my biggest flaw. They time travel. Nobody thinks he's time traveling. Sorry, that's a real Silent Hill experience reference. I'll stop making those.
This led to the 3 investigators creating the smiley face murder theory. According to this theory, these 45 and possibly many other deaths from the 1990s to 2010s weren't accidents in the slightest. Instead, they were murders committed by a single deranged person or an organized group of serial killers. This is the only logical explanation they could find to justify the many oddities and similarities in these incidents. That said, while this theory makes complete sense to some people, others aren't convinced one bit. Criminal profiler Pat Brown, for instance, called this theory ludicrous.
Yeah, it is. It is.
She believes that the idea of connecting smiley faces, one of the most common graffiti symbols, with murders is just absurd, stating, "It's not an unusual symbol. If you look in any area 5 miles square, I bet you could find a smiley face." The FBI also completely denied this theory in a statement, reading, "The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by 2 retired police detectives who have dubbed these incidents the smiley face murders and interviewed an individual who provided information to the detectives. To date, we have not developed any evidence to support links between these tragic deaths or any evidence substantiating the theory that these deaths are the work of a serial killer or killers. The vast majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings." However, despite these setbacks, the 3 men have stuck with their theory. They're still working on finding evidence to back their observations. That said, if their hunch is correct, it would mean one of the most wicked serial killers in American history is still at large today.
Yeah, all of them alcohol-based drownings after they were nowhere near the bodies of water, just walking out of parties. I doubt it.
I-70 killer.
Because we all know most people who just go to parties, they just end up drowning, right? Yeah, okay.
Fuldaur was a 26-year-old Indiana University graduate who was working at an Indianapolis Payless shoe source store near I-70 in 1992. The 8th of April was supposed to be her day off. However, just as she was getting ready to relax at home, the employee who was supposed to man the counter called in sick. Left with no...
There's been theories that cops are serial killers because they don't get caught because they know how the process works and what they look for. Payless, BOGO is what I remember. But yeah, I mean, we just watched one the other day where a cop had filmed, like, it was basically a PSA about safe driving and how to navigate through a dangerous city at night, and it turned out he was the killer when they actually did an investigation of multiple women.
The 8th of April was supposed to be her day off. However, just as she was getting ready to relax at home, the employee who was supposed to man the counter called in sick. Left with no other options, her manager called Robin and told her to cover the shift instead.
Yeah, that was the last video
Robin
we
wasn't
watched.
very happy about this emergency shift change, but she reluctantly agreed, arriving at the store at 10 a.m. and starting her shift as usual. Unfortunately, her day was about to get a whole lot worse. Everything seemed normal until 2 p.m. when the manager called the store for a routine check. To her surprise, Robin wasn't picking up the phone. She kept trying for a few minutes before giving up and calling the Speedway gas station neighboring the shoe store. One of the gas station employees, a friend of Robin's, went to the Payless store to see if she was doing okay. However, what she found inside left her confused. The store was in slight disarray and some of the shoes were missing from the shelves. The cash register was also open and there was no money in it. Most concerning of all, there were no signs of Robin anywhere. Her friend called out Robin's name, hoping she was just in the back and would respond. But when she didn't hear anything from Robin after minutes of standing in the store, she became worried and called the police at around 2:20 p.m. The cops arrived within minutes and began searching the store for clues on Robin's whereabouts. And it wasn't long before they made a devastating discovery. They found Robin lying in the store's back office, covered in blood. It was already too late. During questioning, an employee from the store across the street claimed to have seen a strange man loitering around the shoe store a couple hours earlier.
The shoes
According
killed her.
to this employee, the man sat on the curb for about a half hour, rifling through his bag and staring at the Payless store. They then saw the same
Yep, he was probably considering whether or not to fucking do it.
man a few minutes later trying to hitch a ride back to Interstate 465, which was about a quarter mile from the store's location. Unfortunately, they were too far away to get a good look at the man's face. Given the money stolen from the register, and without any other leads, investigators filed this as nothing more than a robbery gone wrong. However, they couldn't have been more wrong. Because just 3 days later, something similarly tragic happened to 23-year-old Patricia Smith and 32-year-old Patricia Makers. The two were working at a bridal shop in Wichita along I-70. The incident happened a little past their usual closing time as they were waiting for a customer who had a pickup. When they saw a man approaching the store, they assumed that it was the customer. However, this man drew a gun on the two after entering the store, took them to the back, and executed both with shots to the back of their heads. As the killer was leaving the store, he crossed paths with the actual customer the girls were waiting for. Without hesitation, he aimed his gun at the man and ordered him to head to the back of the store. But the customer defied his command and ran, narrowly escaping with his life. He later helped the police draw a sketch of the killer. Unfortunately, the sketch didn't provide much of a breakthrough. By this point, the authorities were certain they were dealing with a serial killer, but despite their
That
efforts...
seemed like a really effective sketch, though. Some of the sketches I've seen, it's like you can barely even fucking tell what's going on.
Killer's spree continued. By May 7th, he had taken 3 more victims in small, low-traffic stores along the I-70 highway. By the time investigators managed to compile a few more sketches, the I-70 killer
what's up,
stopped
Dr.
his
Red?
quest and went into hiding. That is until 1993, when he claimed 3 more victims along I-35 in Texas. He tried to hide his identity by changing his weapon, but the investigators were quick to notice the similarities. One of his victims, Vicky Webb, also managed to miraculously survive after getting shot in the neck. If he were ever caught, Vicky's testimony would have been crucial in bringing him to justice. Though the I-70 killer was never found, and the case went cold for nearly 3 decades. However, then, in 2021, investigators released CCTV footage of a murder that happened in 2001. The suspect in this footage looks strikingly similar to the I-70 killer sketches, potentially giving authorities the lead they need to finally catch him. It's likely only a matter of time before he runs out of places to hide and is captured. But for now, he's still out there, evading police and leaving the case unresolved.
I mean, this was 2001. Wichita isn't anywhere near I-70. Yeah, this is fucking 2001, though. I mean, we're talking 24 years later.
We hope he doesn't take any more victims in the meantime.
So he's either dead or there's a similarity of brain scans and killers. Yeah, you have to wonder. Like, you just have to wonder what the fuck motivates people to do things like this. What's going on, by the way, Dr. Red? How you doing? Let me use the bathroom really quick and then we'll get into our second video, okay? Actually, let me find the video first. I think we already watched The Dark Side of Reddit 3.
Today.
No, this was 2 weeks ago. I don't think we watched this. No, we didn't watch this. Let's watch Dark Side of Reddit 3 next. Oh, by the way, this one has a tag from YouTube that automatically links to a suicide hotline. So just everybody's aware, this one's got some really dark stuff in it. Just so you're aware. Give me like 30 seconds. We'll get right back to it, okay? That's a global emote, Siren. The Brat thing, the Charlie XCX Brat thing is a global emote, really. See, back in my day, that type of emote wouldn't have flown. Appreciate that, Dr. Red. Yeah, it says it's a Twitch global command. Alright, you guys ready? Let's go.
One of the largest websites in existence today. While discussion about nearly everything you can think of is just a mere few clicks away, there exists a dark side, a realm full of some of the strangest,
No,
most
Pikachu realm.
perplexing, and haunting posts out there. Threads that make it seem like something is wrong.
What's up, Yellow? What is that emo, dude? What the fuck?
This
Is that a
is the
chill
dark
guy?
of
It looks like the chill guy.
Reddit.
We're watching the dark side of Reddit, dude. Close enough. How's the PC been treating you?
Picture this.
That's actually
It's
next
the
bell.
dead of night, and throughout the air, and silent, the peculiar, intimate comfort of late night TV.
S tier
echoes throughout
performance.
your home.
Yeah, man, that thing is a
And
beast.
in a funny way, it's serene. You get up to grab a drink, yet as you walk to the kitchen,
I can't take it very seriously because it's Nexpo. That's actually Nexpo right there. It seems like a fucking 2009 YouTube skit.
blood-curdling, primal scream pierces the silence.
But at least he's not using stock footage like everybody else.
Someone needs help.
It is fun, Dr. Red. Good ass game. Wilhelm Scream? No.
The police didn't investigate, and it's been bothering me.
Okay, first of all, this guy's fucking name is Prolapse This. Are we sure this isn't a troll? I'm sorry. I'll stop pausing. Oh, that's a cool filter.
At around 8:30 to 8:45, I arrived home from a quick trip to town to grab a beer. As I got out of my car, I could hear something. I thought for a moment that I had left the TV on and was hearing it from outside. But as I walked to the front of my car and pressed the lock button on my remote, I realized that what I was hearing was screaming. I listened for a second, thinking it was someone screwing around. But then the woman's voice
Audio increase, please.
screamed,
That good?
"No, stop. You're hurting me. You're killing me." And an adult male voice yelling something I couldn't make out. There was a dog barking from the same direction, as well as a repeated thudding noise. I immediately dialed 911 and told the police. They could even hear the screaming in the background. They said they'd send an officer to drive by, but an hour passed and none came.
What's up, by the way,
I
Kendo?
watched for them on my security cameras. I pulled the footage from the only one that was set to record constantly. The camera on my back door only records when it detects a humanoid shape, so it caught me making the phone call and a little of the screaming in the background. The backyard camera caught it all, but it's unintelligible due to the outdoor AC unit noise. I cleaned up the audio as best I could, but I need advice on how to proceed. I'm attaching a Dropbox link to the video. I also include
Yeah, unfortunately, the other thing you have to look out for with these is fucking ARGs, where people, it's like somewhat reality stories. Like basically, ARGs are basically where they try to create a real world horror thing by merging it and pretending as if it's real. A lot of people try to do this shit on Reddit, so you never know.
the original in the second half of the video. If you watch it, the screaming was coming from directly where the camera's pointed, but more than 50 feet away, across a narrow field.
Yeah, basically a
There's a small
creepypasta.
shack that has a couple cars, usually parked on the road, just on the other side of that field. It's bothering me a lot, since I'm 41 years old.
Pretty much,
and
Dr.
I've
Red.
never heard anything so disturbing in real life. The following is the OP's video.
I mean, I can barely hear anything because the... Sounds like a generator's running.
As you guys may know, early Nexpo was pretty big on, let's just say videos of screams that may have been mountain lions or foxes. Given how easily these can mimic the sound of a real human screaming, it's easy to mistake them for someone in distress. Here though, this case seems very eerily different. The sound is muddled. The OP heard discernible words. This clearly isn't an animal.
Update. September 7th. I guess they finally had a reason to go out and check the property I was trying to tell them to look at. There are sheriff's cars all over the place and cops in gloves walking in and out of the garage and one cop throwing up in the front yard. I have a picture, but I can't add it to update. What?
Next few days, this post would gain considerable traction on the investigative subreddit RBI. Commenters chimed in with countless theories and methods to pursue this further. Yet the weird part is, the police seem to have no interest in solving this case at all. I talked to them and they wrote down what I said. I showed them the video and they have copies of it. They said they'd do a welfare check. They also told me to drop it and not to trespass or I would be cited. They said they'll handle everything, so I guess I'm just gonna have to watch the newspapers and see if anything comes up of it. That's all I can do. I've done my due diligence.
You know what, Dr. Red? That's a really good question. What the hell did happen to that guy? After this video, let's look for an update on Smart Schoolboy 9. Can you remember me, or can you remind me after this video's over and we'll take a look? I want to look for an update.
And I really hope everything's alright.
See, look, Monster, I was just talking about this. Told me to drop it 100% because they know who it is and it was a coworker slash family member slash friend. This is why they didn't respond immediately. I told you. We were just talking about this and here it is.
It's frustrating, hopeless, and annoying to hear, but it's clear that there was nothing further the OP could do. They took his statement, they watched his video, and all that was left was to hold out hope that maybe, by the grace of God, something would actually come out of this. And so, back to his routine he goes, into the now uneasy serenity of his home. The TV echoing. The dark consuming. Everything is fine. Right?
Yeah, I swear to God, if he puts a sponsor here. Okay, I was gonna say, if you put a fucking sponsor spot here, dude, I need to know what happens now.
I posted last year about coming home and hearing a female voice screaming for her life. I posted a video with the audio of the scream and got plenty of comments. About 2 months later, the house that it was coming from had sheriff's cars all around it. I found out that an elderly man had committed suicide via gunshot, that his son was the only person home, and that he was the one who reported that his father had shot himself. Fast forward to last week, I was sitting at home watching YouTube.
I love this filter, man. What is this filter he's using? It's beautiful.
When I heard gunshots. I live in the country and that's common, so I didn't think much of it. Turns out it was the sound of that son murdering his mother. He's trying to claim self-defense, but he's being charged with murder. I live next door and my security cameras caught the audio of the murder. It also captures the vehicle the son made his getaway in. I've had detectives in and out, gathering video footage for the past week. This is a family annihilator. They're now looking at him for murder of his father as well. The case has been reopened, and if they had recognized that my calls and reports were actually real, 2 lives could have been saved.
That was 7 months later, too.
The OP saga, as we've seen, took place over the span of months. Yet who knows how long the victim's torment was going on inside. It's frustrating to read, because the OP tried. They truly did. Unfortunately, though, the local PD did nothing when it was most pivotal to help. Nothing was done after screams emanated from their home. Nothing was done after the death of the father. It was a total familicide, and who knows what the mother went through in the months before her death. Alone, confined, and imprisoned with her son.
Yep.
As far as it's known, Tim Johnson II, the man responsible for all of this, remains in police custody, facing 15 years to life due to his crimes. While he since admitted to murdering his own mother, he still maintains that his father had taken his own life. A claim that, given the circumstances, is a definite reach to
no way.
believe.
He said that to get lower jail
No matter
time.
how we look at it, though, no amount of justice can bring back the lives that he brutally stole from people who likely couldn't fight back. It's disgusting, and it leaves a terrible taste in my mouth because all of this could have been entirely prevented. But it wasn't.
Sponsor.
We'll return after these messages.
How did I know?
I'd like to tell you about tonight's video sponsor. In Gasper, the just to find traces of enter
The face on channel 73. Disclaimer, while I discovered the following mystery on Reddit, I later found that it originates from 4chan. Even so, it remains an eerie, enduring mystery. Well, I mean, doesn't virtually everything on the internet these days originate on one of these 2 sites? Like, it either comes from one or the other. Incogni is a good service. I'm assuming it's like browser security.
It's late at night. You check into your local Super 8 to wind down.
Couldn't be me.
Everything is calm.
I can't sleep in hotels. Ever.
You order a pizza and flip on some late night TV to fill the dead air. Yet as you press through the channels,
a passenger with green eyes.
They actually contact the... Oh, it removes your data from everywhere.
somehow, a station that shouldn't exist stares back at you. Quite literally. It's a man's face buried in static, yet it's eerily still. Who is this, you ask? What in the world is happening?
I like these build-ups and everything, but the way he says these, it like kind of... it's a little too much. He's trying a little too hard. It's creepy on its own. You don't have to do the delivery thing on top of it.
11 p.m., September 4th, 2022.
Face in
Hello,
Super 8
Ace.
static.
While talking with my friend, they sent me a video of their TV, zooming in on a face surrounded by static. They're residing
And this story is clearly bullshit. I mean...
in a Super 8 hotel
Yeah.
with channels 1 through 68, yet they found an unnamed channel 73. The top right corner of the video says Plus TV, which appears to be a now defunct Finnish broadcasting service. There's no sound, and the TV manufacturer is Samsung. They found other channels with static and no sound, but no others have the face or Plus TV logo. Neither of us or the 2 people I told this have found anything online regarding this. Alongside this, they include a picture of the TV guide, which goes up to channel 68, and a recording of them flipping through stations before landing on the mysterious...
And this was 2022, by the way. So in classic internet bullshit paranormal fashion, the camera quality is awful. It's so blurry you can't see shit. Even though my phone's not here, but even though everybody has a phone that can like even the most bottom of the fucking barrel phone can record 4K now. This is your number one indicator that this is horseshit.
Yes, channel 73.
What even is this? You have to put a filter to make your video look this shitty.
This shouldn't exist, which ultimately left everyone wondering, how the hell is this happening?
That doesn't even look like the face in the intro to this segment. It looks like a Japanese girl or something.
Hi, friend of the OP here. If anyone actually has any idea what this could be, I'm curious to know. I'll be checking again in the morning to see if the channel's still there. It's 12 a.m. right now, and it's the same thing. I have literally no clue what this could be. I've been looking around on Google for stuff.
Yeah, it does.
But nothing that looks like this, and I can't think of a reason for this to be here.
Friend of the OP, by the way.
Video is mad creepy. I'd turn the TV the fuck off and get the fuck out. Now I'm scared of some Ring shit. Pluto TV? Maybe someone's online TV thing got fucky with your TV. I don't know.
Yeah. Every video of aliens is in like 4K, by the way.
Understandably fascinated and freaked out. Theory upon theory chimed in, yet everyone ultimately wanted to hear from this friend themselves. You can't just drop something like this into the online void and dip. We all
Oh, you can when it's bullshit, because that's exactly why you do it.
answers. This is the friend again, posting from phone right now. It's late as shit, so I know it's just a weird hallucination, but I swear I saw the shadow of a person
Here we
sitting
go.
on the foot of the bed.
See, they have to advance the creepypasta now. Now there's a new arc. There's a new arc, dude.
Next to me. I obviously need sleep. If I'm dead in the morning, well, then fuck. I'll check the video again in the morning to see if anything's changed. But I'm leaving here tomorrow, so I won't be able to examine further. Though maybe that's a good thing. Also, yes, I did check again before sleeping, and it was the same still.
Yeah.
As the night carried on, not much more seemed to come from this. Theories about analog channels and placeholder screens began to roll in, with quite a few skeptics in the mix. For all anyone knew, this could have been real.
And, you know, I had this when I was first on the internet, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, so to speak. I thought everything was real. And I was one of those people who would like fight with the skeptics that are like, oh, this is obviously bullshit. I'd be one of those people that's like, no, dude, if you like orbs and energy, dude, and if you look at it at this angle and maybe you think this, but I believe and this, you know, and there's always those types of people. It gets the skeptics and the believers fucking, you know, at each other's throats. That's what they love about posting stuff like this.
Or perhaps yet another LARP that would inevitably lead nowhere.
LARP?
Regardless, the OP went to bed
Live action
and
roleplay.
did their best to put this out of their mind.
I mean, I'm talking when I was like 12 on the internet, dude, watching YouTube footage. I was a dumbass back then.
The face is still there. I got some more video and photos from different angles, but I can't post the rest until Friends Online, or if I'm back on PC because I don't have the data to right now. I'll have to post more.
Again, terrible quality.
More specific info, though probably no real use. The Super 8 we were staying at is in Barrie, Ontario, in room 404. If anyone in the area is wanting to throw money away just to see if the channel's still there, feel free to. I'm leaving now.
There's literally a station on the TV. Go to it. And it's a toilet. It's a fucking camera pointed at a toilet. And there's no sound. It hasn't moved in, what, 30 minutes?
This story fascinates me because this isn't the only case I know of explaining weird-ass shit popping up on Motel Room TVs.
Weird ass shit.
Just a few years ago, another case went viral after someone found a live feed of what appeared to be the inside of a restroom on a random channel. After reporting it to staff, though, it never showed up again. Police got nowhere. No answer ever came out of this. Now, let's just call a spade here. These two instances are remarkably easy to fake. All you have to do is take a few minutes to edit something together.
Oh God. This timeline is the bane of my existence right now, guys. The fucking Adobe Premiere timeline. I'm so tired of looking at it.
Hook your computer up to the HDMI port on the TV and play it back as a video. In all honesty, it's very possible that these cases are hoaxes.
Look how easy.
However, if we assume that they aren't, then that leaves us with a couple possibilities on what could be going on here. Motel room TVs typically run on a closed system. They pull from a TV provider, whether it's Dish Network, DirecTV, what have you, and beam it to all of their room televisions through a central internal wiring system. Given the nature of this, it's possible that the motel system had registered channels that didn't actually exist or sync with their provider. And in this case, it seems like it may have been previously connected to the Plus TV service. Why it's frozen and why it specifically sat on an uncanny, indiscernible photograph of a man's face is unfortunately unknown.
So bullshit.
However, it's possible that someone could have been messing around here.
100% monster, yes.
Hey OP, I think I know exactly
Michael Jackson.
what this is. So back in the day,
Fucking
when analog TVs
I'm sorry.
and shit were more
I
common,
apologize.
there was a nefarious hobby for nerds called TV pirating, which is where you hijack an unused low-frequency channel
Yeah, that's an XD, boys. That's an XD.
from nearby and can broadcast whatever you want on it. I
Wizard
used
of
to do
Oz.
it quite often in Topeka, both on TV and radio.
Okay, so let me read this. So, hey OP, I think I know exactly what this is. So back in the day when analog TVs and shit were more common, there was a nefarious hobby for nerds called TV pirating, which is where you hijack an unused low-frequency channel from nearby and can broadcast whatever you want on it. I used to do it quite often in Topeka, Kansas, I believe, both on TV and radio. Anyway, it's still common in some places, although harder to not get caught or be shut down automatically in a matter of seconds. So what TV pirates do now is run very low quality tests with static and a symbol in the center, usually at CIMET codes 45 and 85 respectively, to broadcast a recog recognizable symbol and test if it works, while also being an inside joke to other TV pirates who may know online or IRL. I'll look around to see if I know any TV pirates in Buffalo who would broadcast this. Okay, well that's sensible.
Any quality 85 being an inside joke. Look around to see if... Given this theory, it's entirely plausible that one of the hotel staff or someone in the area had secretly gotten access to the hotel's
The
internal
Thunderful
broadcast
Wizard.
system, beaming this to every TV the night the Anon discovered it. For instance, there's a system called Hack TV in which you can find examples all over the internet of people testing this on analog sources, and at first glance, these fake broadcasts appear legit. Given the fact that hotel TVs still run through coaxial cables, this is entirely possible, if we're assuming that this isn't one big hoax. To be honest, I do find it interesting that the Anon was the only person in this big-ass hotel who saw it that night. You would think that calls would have been pouring in, other footage surfacing online, a bigger discussion taking root around this, but there wasn't. All we have is an X thread, an insanely interesting, eerie X thread, but that's it.
Oh, I thought they meant X as in Twitter. This big ass hotel.
Regardless if this is still going on or not, cases like this do freak me out. With Max Headroom, 96.7, the HBO incident, even tales like WKCR, there's something inherently
Oh my God,
creepy
you know what else
about a
this reminds
complete
me of?
stranger reaching out to you through analog media. Perhaps people...
You know what else this reminds me of is that one thing in the UK. It was kind of like the Orson Welles War of the Worlds thing, where there was a British newscaster who was in on this Halloween special that they did, where it was basically a news crew where they pretended like they were going to investigate paranormal stuff for Halloween, and then what people didn't realize because they didn't disclose it was that it was an actual horror movie with like real special effects and a possession scene taking place. but nobody watching knew that, and they thought it was real, so it actually gave people nightmares and shit. That's what people are trying to do when they create stuff like this. They're trying to create that type of reaction. Yeah, I forget exactly what it was called, but it was similar to how they went on the radio and started reading from War of the Worlds, and people thought that a real alien invasion was happening, and they went into panic mode when really they were just reading a science fiction novel on the radio.
People overlooked it.
There's a few instances of that happening. It'd be really interesting if somebody compiled all that into one video. Maybe it might even be me.
Perhaps no one even bothered to tune in past channel 68. Or even, maybe people did call the front desk, and we never knew it. This story, in its entirety, is a complete mystery, and to this day, leaves me curious on not only how exactly it happened, but who this face even is. So, if you recognize this man from anywhere,
Doesn't look like a man to me.
know, because tonight, an entirely different internet oddity just might be taking root.
Sorry, that was foul. That was the part of the stream I didn't want you to hear. Now he's going to talk about Squarespace. That wording kind of broke the tension. Yeah.
What's the strangest, most baffling disappearance, murder, or other crime that you know of? Something that makes such little sense. That
I love the first Blair Witch movie with the three friends because they never told the actors anything. So when they went to film, they left the actors a little task and would scare the actors during the filming to scare them and make it more realistic. Dude, that is some convincing fucking acting from those three people who are considered non-actors. I think they did a phenomenal job. Like, that movie is incredibly convincing.
you can't begin to wrap your head around it. January 9th, 2023. The murder of Christopher Morris, boy found dead in a dishwasher on a military base in Texas. The case itself is obviously disturbing and depressing, but what's extra weird is that there's next to no information about this murder seemingly anywhere online until a couple years ago. Then posts started popping up, all of which had the same weird, bot-like comments from people claiming to know Christopher or be personally involved in the case. These comments are eerily uniform and seem to be written by the same person, if not by actual bots. Examples can be found in the comments section here. Obviously, it's not necessarily unusual for—
Yeah, so almost laughed when he said in a dishwasher. If you guys want to know a genuine fear I have, like, and this is not an irrational fear, is that the dead internet theory is mostly true. That is a fear that I think about all the time. Because you go on Twitter, you go on Reddit, you go on YouTube. YouTube and Twitter, I think, are the two biggest websites. Hey, welcome back, Dr. Red. YouTube and Twitter are by far the most obvious websites with all the bot activity. And the dead internet theory purports or claims that the internet has been mostly bots since around 2013 or 14. And there's maybe like an incredibly small percentage, maybe 5% of internet traffic is real people and the rest is all bots. That is a fear that I have. Like, they're talking about bots here that are all speaking uniformly. Did you guys know that if a movie bombs, the companies will pay for PR and they'll pay for some company to create movie reviews that make it seem like the public has a positive perception of the movie instead? Like, they left the note to the actor to purposefully lose the map when they were running in one scene, then they grabbed one of the actors to scare them thinking they lost it. Yeah. They went as far as placing actors in the town to make them think that the Blair Witch was a real folklore thing. Like, the actors did not know the towns people they interviewed, just actors. Yeah. What if the world population is much lower than we're being told? Yeah, that's another thing I think about, man, because we hear about birth rates being low and everything. Yeah, Snow White, Captain Marvel. The biggest example I can think of was the last Star Wars movie, the last mainline Star Wars movie, which was The Last Jedi. Came out in like 2019, I think. That movie had a horrific reception from every Star Wars person I knew. They all said it was ass, terrible. They said they ruined the Finn character. They ruined the Stormtrooper guy. His character arc got ruined. The Rey, whatever, storyline was terrible. A lot of people said it was awful, okay? But someone found they basically ran all the positive Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb reviews into an algorithm that determined whether or not something had a lot of uniform language to it. So were they using the same keywords? Were they using the same sentence structure? And they found out that somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 80% of all positive reviews on both websites were completely fake. The accounts were burners. They had no prior posts ever. And they all said 3 key terms. It was like perfect end to the saga, incredible acting, and end to the saga. You know, they all used like the same phrases even. So it's like they just ran the shit into like a random review generator, but they wanted it to use 3 exact, you know, sentences. I think Captain Marvel did it too. I just want to know the real reason NASA stopped investigating the sea and why they have Nemo points. Like, I think the memo points are to keep people from discovering or awakening what they found in the sea. Yeah, see that? I don't know, but those are incredibly interesting conversations, I will admit.
Found in the comments section here. Obviously, it's not necessarily unusual for people to come forward on a post about someone they knew.
Oh, it is, Monster, but for a company like Disney, they don't want that bad PR. You already know they have infinite money. So if a Star Wars movie is doing bad, that's their cash cow. They can't have that doing poorly. They gotta trick the public into thinking that everybody loves this movie. And the power of suggestion is very fucking strong. You'd be surprised. I wouldn't be, but... Call Badlands Chugs. He'll drink the ocean and we'll see what's... That's a good point, Dr. Red. Get him on the phone.
Comments and you'll see what I mean.
I'll check that out in a second, Siren.
So far as to suggest that the case is wholly fictional, like the Red Spider murders, which used to appear in true crime discussions until it was revealed that author Colin Wilson had invented the whole story. It's weird that there are, as far as I know, no other corroborating reports that the murder even happened outside of the aforementioned blog posts and weird common threads. Though others have noted that murders on military bases are notoriously shrouded in secrecy and covered up.
For obvious reasons.
In September of 2000, in the quiet town of Wichita Falls, Texas.
Dude, Wichita. Whether Wichita or Wichita Falls has been like 6 or 7 of these stories. I am getting really fucking tired of AI, dude. There's so many fucking content mill channels on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok where it is, and sometimes even an AI video. Like, I've seen a bunch of AI videos about like LeBron and fucking Diddy and Steph Curry, like just horseshit, obvious, terrible AI slop videos. But a lot of times it's even lazier than that. It's like a plot synopsis off of IMDb. And it's been fed into an AI chatbot thing to just text to speech it. You won't believe what happens at the end of this film. Or they'll just start in on the plot. He finds his son dead and decides on a plot for revenge. You know what I mean? Just stupid shit like that. Yeah, how they say certain vowels is a big tell in whether or not it's AI. Point Nemo are like points of the sea you should never pass. It's because they don't do search and rescues past that point. It's like the dead man's land of the sea. Dude, another one of my biggest fears. Can you imagine flying over the ocean and it's the dead of night, okay? Pitch black, you can't see shit, save for like the stars and the moon are your only source of light. Water as far as the eye can see, no landmarks, and somebody just drops you. No equipment, they just drop you in the middle of the ocean. That is like one of the scariest scenarios I can possibly imagine.
Chris Morris was found naked, dead, and trapped inside of a Shepherd Air Force Base dishwasher. The culprit, to this day, has never been found. Yet the circumstances surrounding it, as we've seen, have given rise to another mystery entirely. Chris Morris, Christopher Morris dishwasher, Chris Morris death, dishwasher death, Chris Morris dishwasher death. Not a single archival search seems to bring up archives about this case at all. You would think that such an unconventional, disturbing death of a child would send shockwaves across the nation. However, much like the OP stated...
Well, not necessarily, because there have been definitive cases of people having information scrubbed from the internet. There is a journalist who, her uncle is the owner of Internet Archive. The owner of it. So she actually called in a favor and had him essentially scrub her entire internet history so that nobody could dig up dirt on her. So if somebody can do that, I mean, it's not so surprising. Maybe a family wanted this information scrubbed off the internet and they were able to pay somebody to get it done.
This is far, far from the case. Nested within an October article of the Shepherd Senator, a local newspaper pertaining to the
Dude, I cried one night because there was an abandoned house in the forest area of where I used to live, and one day the lights were somehow on even though no one lived there, and that it was scheduled to be torn down. My biggest fear is seeing signs of life where there usually isn't, especially in I think that's one of the most common fears. People call it irrational. I don't think it's irrational at all. I think that's one of the most common ones, to be honest with you.
eponymous Air Force Base and
That's completely understandable. I'd probably do the same.
surrounding town. One article seems to be all anyone's been able to find to confirm the veracity of this story. This bizarre, eerie death definitely happened, so why wasn't it brought up elsewhere? Why is this the only piece of information we can find? Where online is Christopher Morris? In the early 2000s, a Blogspot page was born,
Blogspot. Wow, that
created
takes
by
me
a
back.
group of activists dedicated to sharing and addressing cases of domestic violence.
What?
Their sites,
Penile Code Avenger and Miss Fussy Pants. What the fuck?
activists dedicated to sharing and addressing cases of domestic violence. Their site, the Penile Code Avenger, shared studies and opened the door to a community of victims to have a voice about any past trauma they may have gone through. According to the website's creator of the same name, they claim, "I'm here to expose a fundamental problem that lies buried due to shame, retaliation, pain, and even death. Domestic violence, and to deal with the aftermath." For over a decade, they would share various articles about the topic. However, strangely, on the 17th of May 2005, they would change it up a bit, posting a thread about an oddly specific type of death. Taken from Newswise, the article dives into child deaths that have happened on military bases, giving data for a much higher than I expected rate of child mortality. There was no further insight given by Penile Code Avenger. No thoughts, nothing. Just an article cast out to the void for whoever's interested to take a look at.
You know, the internet used to be a lot more like that before Discords and stuff. It was a lot of like blog spots with information like this. Don't know why, but I'm actually getting spooked. This doesn't happen often. Yeah, this is a way more compelling and interesting story than the last one, that's for sure. The last one seemed like obvious bullshit to me.
That's all completely fine, and nothing about their website or any of this raises any cause for concern. In fact, this blog would never have been mentioned tonight if it weren't for the bizarre, uncanny phenomenon that would follow it. I lived in Wichita Falls, Texas for a long time before returning to Oklahoma. Shepherd Air Force Base is in Wichita Falls. A few years ago, a young boy, I can't remember his exact age, 5 to 7 years old maybe, was found in the dishwasher of his family home, which was inside the base. He had been sexually assaulted, tortured, murdered, then his body
So it's even worse
in the
than
dishwasher.
they originally said.
Officials speculated that the killer had done that to wash away evidence. After the initial report on the local news, nothing else was ever
Oh,
reported
that
on
lines
it.
up with what they've said so far. It kind of got swept under the rug, makes you wonder what's going on.
Very hush-hush. I'm not sure why I'm leaving this comment, except that this entry reminded me of that. May God watch over the children. I'm also from Wichita Falls. I think that it was more than a few years ago. I had heard that no one was home, and he was a latchkey kid. When the father came home, he found him because the dishwasher racks had been taken out and placed in the middle of the floor. It was said that he was being harassed by older kids and that all logs of people in and out of the base were questioned, but nothing ever happened. I seen a webpage put up by his aunt not too long ago asking for any information. I think about this every week. I really wish this would have been solved. It probably would have been if it happened now, but at the time, they didn't have all that they do now. Okay, so people who knew him are looking for info. Interesting, but not that
Yeah, I want to see some of these bot comments that the guy was talking about.
strange.
That's what I would be
Christopher was
interested
my best
in.
friend, and they say his dad didn't, but I know him and he loved Christopher, and he wouldn't ever have done such a thing when Christopher died at 11. I was 11 also. He lived down the street from me, and we were inseparable.
Inseparable.
I'm now 15 years old, and I live in Oklahoma, and there's a website about Chris. And if you know, can you please give it to me? I would appreciate it, and I miss him every day. Hey y'all, I'm Christopher's cousin. My name is Brittany Schultz.
Bullshit.
I'm also looking for any and all updated information on the case. If anyone hears anything, contact me on Facebook or email me at Brit.
Yeah, this must be the bot stuff he's talking about. Like everybody is all of a sudden claiming to be related to Christopher.
306@yahoo.com. Christopher's murder has yet to be brought to justice. Thanks for your prayers. I'm Christopher's mother. I miss him each and every day. My name's Kelly, and I live a street away from Hello Christopher. I'm Courtney Bolden. I was stationed at Shepherd when this happened to Christopher. We lived 2 houses, but I had no idea short of Shepherd Street. I was not away that day. The laughter of kids playing all these was shattered by police sirens. I don't quite know.
Oh, tiramisu? Are you talking about tiramisu? Yeah, I mean, that's how easy it is, Siren. Like, this is obviously some, like, 2 or 3 idiots that are like, oh, we're just going to troll the shit out of these posts or whatever. Oh, the coffee dessert? Yeah, tiramisu.
Know what it is, but there's something about this that unnerves me. On this random blog, hidden away within the vast expanse of the internet, one that primarily centers on domestic violence and sexual assault, we have a random article about child deaths and a flood of bizarre comments, all bringing up Chris and claiming to know him personally. Comment after comment after comment all seem to carry the same sentiment. Random, specifically formatted emails, stories from anons who never showed up again, names that don't match up. This case seems to have no mention, aside from a handful of obituaries in one single archived newspaper. But here, what is going on here? Given that this phenomenon began in the mid-2000s, it mostly rules out the potential of this being the work of bots. So,
yeah, but it was also still pretty easy to make burner emails back then. I used to do that. The person who's covering it up did it. I think that more so, it's kind of like the key lime pie thing from a few videos ago where everybody was just oddly talking about a restaurant that serves key lime pie, and it turned out that the place was torn down. Somebody in the comments revealed that it was just trolls trying to get people to think that there was more to it than there really was. So I bet it's probably something pretty similar here.
either this is his family or someone impersonating them. Upon heading to a few of their profiles, we can see that they created their accounts shortly after the article was posted, going forth to share their comments.
That's true.
And never returning again. When it comes to Shelby, the supposed best friend, though, they link to a site of their very own. One titled RIP to Christopher.
Yeah, so even made a website about it.
Unfortunately, though, this lead is a dead end. No archives were made. No posts can be found. It's just sitting here, buried within the comments section of this random 2005 article. A big part of me wants to believe that his family is the one doing this.
Doubt.
In a way, though, it's more depressing to ponder, because if this were them, then this seems like an act of desperation. A plea to get any eyes on this case when the news media had failed them. As we know, mentions of Chris, even today, are sparse. So imagine how you'd feel if you were faced with this dilemma.
Oh God, and here we go. The TikTokers.
They are sparse. So imagine how you'd feel.
Now we got the TikTokers making videos about it too. Oh my God, everything is just a way to chase clout nowadays, isn't it?
If you were faced with this dilemma in the Wild West days of the internet. I don't know, there's something about the emails though. They all carry a random name with an underscore in the middle. The name of the sister, doesn't match up with her username. All of the details and structure of their writing just seems off. For all we know, this could have been a random person who latched on to this case, this very real case. Yet, given the nature and limitations of Blogspot, we'll unfortunately never know it. Christopher Morris died before his life could ever get started, and no one ever talked about it. Whispers of his name remain confined to the void of internet archives, seemingly frozen in time. Given the unsolved nature of his death, we can only hope that the evidence, if any were ever kept, are given a second look, as it's highly plausible that his family, to this day, are desperately searching for answers.
Oh
How
yeah.
did this
Hey
boy
Siren,
die?
that was one of the very first videos we ever watched, dude. That was one of the very first Nightmare Fuel videos we ever watched, was that one. And that was off of someone's suggestion, I believe, Pitt. That's like 3 years ago we watched that. The only TikToker I like is the one girl that watches horror movies and talks and spoils the movie for me, so I know if it's trash or good, because I can get the movie spoiled and still enjoy it. Hey, Dr. Red used to do that too.
Why was this never pursued? And most importantly, who in the world forced Christopher Morris in the dishwasher?
Yeah, that story was infinitely better than the fucking, the face on the TV thing. Now, Dr. Red, if you're still here, you didn't have to remind me, but let's check out and see if Smart Schoolboy 9 has an update. The Smart Schoolboy 9 situation seems to be finished. 5 months ago. Smart Schoolboy 9 is back and it's unhinged. 3 months ago, Smart Schoolboy 9 just hit rock bottom. The entire Smart Schoolboy 9 iceberg explained. Okay, well, let's watch this video from 5 months ago because it's the most recent one. Alright, here we go. Here's the most recent one.
Hi, I've reported you to the police for stalking. You got the wrong person, so they don't know who you are.
Smart Schoolboy 9 is back, and he is more insane than ever.
And you mentioned schoolboys? Why do you like Smarty School Kid 9 or whatever? That's a young boy.
Yeah, he's gone off the rails. It's pretty wild, to be honest with you. Now, I, like many of you, thought that this whole thing was over. I thought this was just a fad that the internet had, and they got over it pretty quickly. But unbeknownst to me, a lot of stuff has been going on behind the scenes, and David's been sending voice messages to pretty much everyone who messages him. I think one big reason that a lot of people...
Somebody actually described him as a lol cow. That's actually insane. Like, I think it's a little bit worse than a lol cow.
People don't know about this stuff is that the original Reddit where most YouTubers were getting the information from was actually taken down for violating Reddit's harassment policies. Now, luckily, not only am I one of the few who's in the private subreddit, but I've also had a lot of my lovely viewers send me messages.
Who is Smart Schoolboy 9? Well, funny you should ask. Here's the original video that started it all. Basically, he was a guy who posted really disturbing shit like this, LARPing as a school kid despite being in his mid to late 40s.
Fully grown man, dressed in a schoolboy's uniform. His face is painted pure white and has bright red lipstick. And he's, of course, wearing high-heeled mini boots. Characteristics that were all utilized across the other accounts. Only this time, it was done on himself, common for preteens.
And he would make Instagram posts that looked like this. Hi, I now have to wear a dental brace, but look how cool it is. And with my smart school uniform and heeled mini boots, I wear to school.
Videos.
I've my school books on my lap that I had to hold in place because they kept slipping on the floor. School is good. This guy was like 48 when he made this, by the way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Others show him claiming to be on the bus heading towards school.
Yeah. Okay.
Is
Yeah. In a nutshell, that's who the fuck this freak is. Okay. So, with that in mind, basically everybody tracked him. They all tracked them down, of course. I'm sorry I asked. That's how I felt when somebody first linked me. People tracked him down. They found out he lives in the UK, of course. They found out what his full name is. Like, they got all the email accounts associated with these Instagram accounts. He basically got fully doxxed practically overnight. And ever since then, this story is like a year old, like since it initially broke. Ever since then, people have just been following every single thing he does online, and this update is from 5 months ago.
And voice messages that they've received from David. Before we get into all that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I've been getting a lot of comments recently from people who have been unsubscribed against their
Reported you to the police for
subscribe, just like we're gonna get into these voice messages.
Hi, I've reported you to the police for stalking.
This is apparently him, by the way.
Got the wrong person, so they don't know who you are. So, bye.
I thought we'd start with this one because he's still doing the weird schoolboy voice that we all know and love, and I don't want to escape our comfort zones quite yet. Although this is an interesting outlook onto what we come to see in the future, because you can actually hear his real voice seep through the cracks there. Maybe he's hit some sort of second puberty where he can't do the voice as well anymore, or maybe his roommate is in the other room, because apparently there's people that live with him, like, in the house. He's not in a one-bedroom house.
Oh my god. The poor roommates, dude.
You fucking imagine living with this bloke. Surely they know. Like, they have to have walked in whilst he was in his high heels and white makeup or something. There's no way they don't know. So yeah, maybe he's recording this voice message like a bit more quiet. I doesn't want to go full in with
Discord
the voice and
mod,
shout too
honestly.
much because Big Barry's in the other room is probably going to kick his
You're not
head
wrong.
if he finds out what he's been up to. I'd also like to comment on the fact that he is sending this voice note through the David London Facebook account. So I don't know why David would choose to do this sort of, I'm Smart Schoolboy 9, get away from me now, I hate you, from the David account, because it's sort of just a dead giveaway that the David account is actually him. Did he forget to switch accounts or something? Like, is this guy fucking stupid? Probably not. I think he's doing it on purpose. Voice are a lot more, just how sassy he is, though.
Got the wrong person, so they don't know who you are. So
I'll be honest, in every other aspect of school life, the bloke's clueless. He doesn't know how to act like a school kid at all, but he's the girls watching this who like sass the voice notes.
But I've got some information on you. You have described yourself as some sort of certainly.
Yeah, so he has an account called David London that people track down, and he was they were messaging him and said something about predators like you, and it never ends well for them. You're preying on vulnerable children. That makes you the lowest kind of coward. No lie or disguise will shield you from the consequences of your actions. You will be found out. Did more research on your charade, and I found what you really look like, and no amount of makeup is going to hide how ugly you are inside and out. The person you are beneath that disguise is even more revolting than your ridiculous attempt at looking young. Holy shit. Roasted. Roasted atop a fucking bonfire. Holy.
You should not be texting strangers because I have worked and do work at detective level.
Okay, we'll stop there because there's
Hey, what's up,
so
Shadow
much
Man?
going on. First of all, I don't know where he gets the idea that the commenter was describing themselves as that from, because if you
Oh, we're watching an update on Smart Schoolboy 9, if you know who that is.
read the message he sent, he's calling him one. So this could be
Fucking Batman. Yeah, what is at detective level?
another case of him sort of projecting like what he is on other people, which he has a habit of doing. If you've seen any of my other videos, he says stuff like, you're probably wanking as you text me these messages or read my messages, because that's exactly what he's doing. He even has a video of himself wanking into a mirror. You know the level of narcissism that shit takes? I mean, we can read the messages that this bloke sent that spurred this voice message on. You're preying on vulnerable children. You're a predator. No lie or disguise will shield you from the consequences of your actions. You will be found out. Now, I've said this many times before, but I think it's incredibly silly to message the bloke at all. However, I will say, it's very clear at this point that the police aren't going to do fucking anything. He's just not online enough or overtly illegal enough for the police to care, in my opinion. So as much as people shouldn't be messaging him, it's for different reasons now. There's nothing like, oh, they're going to ruin the police investigation or foil the case or anything like that, because there is no case. Let's be fucking honest here. Because let's remember, we're in the United Kingdom, baby. If you chop someone's head off, you only get like 10 years here. They're not going to care about some bloke making making weird collages on fucking Instagram, are they? But yeah, that's another running trend on these voice notes. He describes himself as a detective. He says that, oh, I'm a detective working on cases like this, and you should not be doing what you're doing right
about yourself being in law.
That's his real voice, by the way. You can definitely tell he's like a 50-year-old guy because of this.
Law enforcement. That is not true, and you should not be lying to someone who has experience of your sort. Please do not message again.
He's definitely not any part of that detective shit, by the way, because no credible detective worth their salt would send messages like this, hundreds of messages like this, to fucking any random... I almost said the C word. Who messages them? I feel like a real detective would just quietly note it down, take it in for evidence.
Nah, no way, Siren. Like, people would have figured that out by now, and he would have revealed by now.
You know, put it in a folder somewhere. They wouldn't go off the rails. You motherfucker, you should never do this. We're never... David, obviously.
Talk about young school children, because the young schoolboy, young smart school kid 9, that is a young boy.
He's pretending not to know the name.
Yeah, and so he has to change it from schoolboy to school kid. Now nobody will know, dude.
He's you always funny. See,
you know what, Monster? And I saw some fucking weirdos when this story first came out in the comments on YouTube that are like, this is just harmless age play. I don't see anything weird about this. It's like, what? What do you mean age play? What exactly does that entail, and how is that not fucking weird?
This is the thing, right? Beforehand, there was like much scary one night. Frank, internet degenerate shit and posting them on your website.
Yeah, that's a weird one too, which, we were talking about Japan earlier. We got to blame Japan a little bit for that one, because Japan is the country that has an obsession with putting every fucking character in the world in like a schoolgirl uniform. They fetishize it big time, more than any other country, I would say.
It's under the alias of, you know, his many accounts. That's not exactly normal either. In fact, it goes beyond not normal and into, you know, predatory territory. But the fact that behind it all, it's just some weird fucking English bloke makes him way less scary. If he wanted to keep the fear factor, he should have just remained unmasked. But that being said, he does say a lot of revealing shit here. Not this one in particular, but...
Pretend that it is me. Is that clear? Thank you very much.
I mean, he's still just actually cats him trying to have a laugh. But he does sound actually quite pissed off. And
Okay, so here's him without the makeup.
Which makes sense. I'll put them on screen right now.
Oh, never mind. He does have some weird shit on.
This is mental. How can you actually go out in the open like this and not have been bricked already? The fact that you're still alive, mate, is... honestly a miracle. And then we have the story of when he went into Tesco in like the 90s. So, I mean, it really does seem like some of this is real. Like, he genuinely wants people to believe he's a real school kid. And it's still probably true that that gets him off. Like, that's a weird kink for him.
Right, so you've received that message because your ugly little face has showed up as being, having seen it. You know what I mean. So do not make stupid accusations and assertions about people.
This message screams of, I'm not mad. Please don't put in the news that I got mad.
Know what I mean? So do not make stupid accusations and assertions about people.
Oh, David's getting angry.
Yeah, you can hear the anger building, dude.
Ray and David inside of dogs.
Because you are a predator and you do not look like someone who could be trusted. Don't make any further comments. It is worthless. You have made some mistake.
Oh, he's really flustered now. Listen to that. He couldn't even get the words out.
Comments. It is worthless. You have made some mistake. I accept, and my friends at detective level do accept that you've made some mistake because you're probably drinking whatever it is you're into, and certainly, please do not make stupid suggestions and suppositions. Okay?
What?
Thank you.
What the fuck is this guy doing? What is this guy? This freak? What is this freak?
Thank you very much, sir. Good night.
Went a bit cockney at the end there. I'm not sure why he did that, because he's doing as much as we messages from a public account where his face is just visible. That's pretty silly of you, mate.
Also, just to conclude, it is the Feast of Tabernacles in God's church, and that's why Satan has used you to make stupid allegations. Satan has used you to text complete strangers. Why would you do that for people who are keeping God's feasts faithfully? Do not have
He's going to bring that into it.
Contact with strangers and make silly allegations. It makes you look like some sort of satanic predator. Why would you do that? Eh? Do not do that. I accept
I'm not the predator, you're the predator. Wow, what a defense.
you've made a mistake. My detective colleagues also accept that you've made a mistake, providing you stop messaging people.
See what I mean? When he gets angry, the Cockney comes out. He goes, "Why would you do such a thing? If you do that one more time," whatever, or like actually believes his religious beliefs to by James Joyce.
Message the people who are helping with the police, but I will tell you now, you fucking fault. You ring me again or text me again, you will be under arrest. Now fuck off and do not do that again.
Fuck off. Oh my god, he really pulled out the fuck off. You received the message, you dirty bastard, falsely accusing me. Now fuck off, you dirty bastard.
Bastard falsely accusing me. Now fuck off, you dirty bastard. I don't know how messaging a message send me that security just like, oh, that's a response, so they messaged him like 3 hours later. Imagine double texting Smart Schoolboy 9. Come on now, how desperate can you be? You're better than that random redditor who probably thinks completely different individual to the one you assume to be. I work with the police. Yet again, this bloke double texts him. You stop double
No, you do not, David. I love this.
Police. Yet again, this bloke double
Reddit detective here. No, you do not, David. You are you're an insecure, frail man. How do I know you work with the police? You seem very scared. The Reddit detective puffing his chest out as the moobs jiggle.
texts him. You stop double texting Smart. Texting him in the first place is embarrassing enough.
Triple texted him.
Double texting him because you don't get a reply from your crush is, God, that's so much worse. And he does it multiple times. He uses the forbidden jutsu like twice. I love that he doesn't expect that.
The police, and you mentioned...
Firstly, you are harassing me and colleagues because of your sick mind, and I assure you I'm not frail, but fit, and I work with the police. You seem very deluded and in denial about that. Unsends 3 straight messages.
Schoolboys? Why do you like Smarty School Kid 9 or whatever? That's a young boy.
Smarty School Kid 9?
I definitely don't know who that is.
It's him pretending not to know who Smart Schoolboy 9 even is and then claiming that he is a little boy. I don't know why this 60-year-old man is acting as though everyone knows Smart Schoolboy 9's a little boy. In his world, is he like a boy 9?
Let us tell you this here. Me and my colleagues, we do genuinely work with the police at detective level.
Now here we go. Now he's changing his story. He was the police. He said, I am a policeman. Now he generally, him and his colleagues generally work with the police at a detective level. You see how he's just slowly getting further and further away because nobody's buying his bullshit?
Lying to you. You have messaged the wrong person, some random number or whatever information that you had is bogus. So we're going to ask you very nicely to not persist. Thank you very much. Do not inquire about schoolboys that you like, that are age 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. But certainly you are a grown man and should not be messaging strangers with that sort of chat. It's silly, and people are very busy. Thank you. Good night.
David from...
But he was not. He was busy enough to send like 8 messages in a row, by the way. You have a foul mouth. You are making good people angry now, you sick and bitter, untalented scum. You still typing your sick fantasies and false accusations to innocent people. When did I make a false accusation? I have proof. You're a nonce. There's proof of that. I'd like to see what proof you have. Oh, he tried to audio call him. Holy shit. You want fuck off to be a sound redeem?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know either. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, there's his schoolboy fucking voice that came out again.
Well, I don't know either. Don't know.
Okay, there's a couple options of why not Jack with you.
Hi. Hi. Hello? I don't know. I really don't know. It's like she's sick in the head. I think it's a guy. She says Christina. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Quite frightening. Like, if he sent me that.
Yeah, so anyways, yeah. I guess there's not really much of an update other than the police have refused to do anything, which is surprising. It shouldn't be that surprising. So the police have refused to do anything about him. Apparently they have tried to arrest him in the past, and they have determined him to be the word I believe was mentally compensated, as in he has too much going on mentally for them to even get a case to stick. He's that, what would be the politically correct term? He's that mentally deranged, I guess you would say, that they've had multiple cases dropped on account of, like, you know, claims that he didn't know what he was doing and just a bunch of shit about how, like, his mental state impacted his decision making and stuff. So the police have pretty much stopped investigating him. He's been investigated for many, like, going all the way back to the 90s. He's been investigated and just nothing ever came up of it. So, as you know, Reddit and the internet at large, they doxed his information. And what do they do with it? They start spam texting him, double texting him, Facebook messaging him, just trying to annoy him at this point. So he basically did turn into a lolcow. But yes, I implore you to watch the full video. Siren and also Monster, watch the full video of Smart Schoolboy 9. In fact, I actually reacted to it. Not that I'm going to link my own video because that's incredibly tacky, but I did react to it like the day that it came out or the day after. But at the end of the initial video that kind of blew all this up, he did post a video of him like chasing a kid after school. So yes, if he is left unattended, he will in fact do something fucked up, and it is not going to be good. So that's how they ended the video, by trying to stress the severity of it. But they ended the video by saying, please don't try to contact him because we need the police on this. And the police have basically thrown their hands up and said he's too mentally compensated for us to do anything about it. That was their word, by the way. So, but that's why everybody's messaging him, calling him this, that, and the other, and he's getting all defensive about it because he knows they're right. And he's basically just going to be subjected to a life of humiliation, much like EDP and YouTubers like that. So he basically is in jail. Like he can have no social life ever again because everybody knows his full name, his full docs, everything. And it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Dude Core? But yeah, everybody knows his full name, his docs, everything. He basically, just like EDP, they're both basically in social jail. Like, you know, they're never going to get out of these situations that they're in. They're always just going to be labeled. What's up, dude? Yeah, Vitaly is in jail in the Philippines right now. Or I think he's being held in jail, and we don't know for sure if he's going to be prosecuted for like 20 plus fucking years or whatever it is. And then Johnny Somali is in South Korea right now, and they're going to make an example out of one of these two guys. I'm telling you. One of these fucking nuisance streamers, we were talking about it last stream, they are going to make an example out of one of these two to stop fucking coming to our country and just disrupting society because you want views. He's stuck in jail for 3 years before our Supreme Court even touched his case. Oh yeah, because you're in the Philippines, right? Yeah, I think Johnny Somali got banned from Japan as well. The crazy part is that Vitaly had a time where he went after child predators. Yeah, but you know the fucked up thing though, Dude Core, is he just did that for clout. And they were doing it in a stupid way where they would track the person down and then just start beating them up. And when you do shit like that, you make it more difficult to make a case stick because now you have an assault charge that you have to deal with. Like, tracking down a predator and then beating them up does nothing for you in terms of actually getting a case to stick, except make things more difficult for law enforcement. Because now you're giving the predator a legal leg to stand on to say that they were assaulted over a misunderstanding. It basically gives them an out, is what it does. It gives them a legal out that you don't want to give them. And that's the type of shit that Vitaly was doing. Oh, and don't forget the fact that he was catching predators with a fucking steak icon. I thought it was staged. Who knows? It probably could have been. What's up, by the way, Wang? Entrapment as well. Yeah. In Texas, by the way, there was, I don't want anyone staying in jail for 20 years over just being an idiot. Oh, hang on. I don't want anyone staying in jail for 20 years over just being an idiot, but these clout chasing idiots need to be stopped one way or the other. Worst part is they make a living off of it. Yeah. Here's one fucked up thing. Vitaly did his acts on a high class neighborhood here. I kind of don't want to imagine if he did it on a high crime neighborhood. Yeah, he may not have made it to jail if that happened. So in the state of Texas, the lovely state of Texas, we all know it. They did 2 To Catch a Predator investigations there, right? They did one where they caught an oil drill consultant. It was like the wealthiest predator they ever caught. He was a married, several kids. He was like 49 years old, an oil drilling consultant, by the way, literally probably making fucking $250,000 a year. They caught a bunch of guys like that, very high profile, very wealthy people. And all of them got let off scot-free because the judge in Texas determined that it was entrapment. The other Texas investigation was the one that got the show canceled because they caught a DA, a district attorney, got caught. And he ended up shooting himself before they could arrest him. And just because of the negative publicity around that, and it basically made all their advertisers pull out. And so they couldn't continue the show. That's why To Catch a Predator ended. They commit assault, vandalism, and public endangerment. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Johnny Somali, like, defiled that statue that was supposed to represent, like, I don't even want to talk about it, man. It's just so fucking, it just pisses me off so much that these idiots do this stuff for clout. It seriously does. He was, like, humping a statue that was meant to represent, like, women surviving sexual harassment or something like that, and he goes up and fucking humps it because he thought he could get clout off of it. You know, that's the type of shit. You know, there's a difference between harmless, like, prank stuff and shit like that. And it's like, you know, sometimes if everybody's in on the joke and it's all good-hearted fun, it's fine. But it's shit like that where it makes me think, like, I don't think anybody would care if the dude ended up getting 15 to 20 years. I really don't think they would. In fact, I think more people would celebrate it so that they could finally set a standard and say, if you come to our country and you pull this bullshit, you'll be stuck here. You won't go home. You'll be stuck here and you'll be getting 15 to 20 years. Johnny gets more views from people talking shit. Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody hates him. He gets more hate watchers than probably any other content creator right now. Anytime a YouTuber makes a video about him, the title is most hated streamer ... You know, insert rest of the video title, but it always starts with most hated streamer. And he probably, he sees that, he's like, oh yeah, that's the stuff, right? And, you know, he loves seeing his name plastered everywhere. I bet they do. Yes, it is, Kendo. Both chats are combined. We got Dudecore, Dr. Red, and Wang over on YouTube. And actually, I think Dudecore's on both. So yeah, now you can watch from both platforms. Platform 9 and 3/4. Double dipping, yeah, dude. Plus he has the mod wrench over there on YouTube, although I don't know why it's not appearing. Usually it does. But then the color of the name indicates that. I prefer YouTube, but I need the points. YouTube offers some good things, but the problem is Twitch has a very hard set. Yeah, you're a YouTube mechanic. YouTube has a very hard set, or Twitch has a very hard set bitrate limit. And YouTube does not. On YouTube, if I wanted to, I could stream at 100,000 bitrate and I could not lose connection because my connection is like 500 down. And I could literally stream 4K 60 on YouTube if I wanted to. The only problem is Twitch can only do 1440p and 6500-ish bitrate is the maximum they support. So regardless of how high YouTube is, Twitch is going to be much lower, so there's no point in doing that. So I just stream to both at 6500 and leave it at that. Almost done with Kai. Kind of shame they toned down the cleanup with the boo. Oh, I thought you were talking about Kai Cenat. I was like, Dr. Red is fed up with Kai Cenat, the streamer. So you can play Kirby. But yeah, these nuisance streamers, either the Philippines or South Korea is going to set a standard, and this shit's going to stop one way or the other. Because clearly the punishment doesn't exist enough for them to have any incentive to stop. You know, Johnny Somali has shown zero remorse for any of his actions. And the only time that he will is when he's sat in a fucking jail. And hell, maybe he won't. Maybe his strategy is to go to jail, and maybe dumbasses will somehow bail him out or figure out some type of deal where they'll get him out just so he can keep doing this shit. I don't know. But if people are willing to donate to Darkside Phil every fucking day of their lives and give their life savings to him, then I wouldn't be surprised if money goes to Johnny Somali to get him out of jail. But people like him, they operate strictly on their name being in everybody's mouths, and it gets them off. That's what they love. They love when people talk about him. They say, "Oh, any publicity is good publicity." He's that type of guy, and you know it. A cleaned up version of OG Dragon Ball? That I don't know, but I know that I think they did end up releasing Blu-ray sets for all the Dragon Ball Z seasons. But you know the thing that's fucked up about Dragon Ball Z, to watch it correctly, which is the Japanese version, I said what I said, the audio actually got fucked up, and they didn't save the master tapes. They actually either just have them stored somewhere in Toei, the animation studio. They're either stored somewhere in Toei's like storage backlog or whatever, or they are just gone. Maybe they were recorded over, they were destroyed or whatever, but they did not keep the master tapes. So when you buy a physical copy of any Dragon Ball Z season, you set it to Japanese, the voices are very low quality mono. It's almost like an old kung fu movie is what it sounds like. Music, audio, everything. Like voices, sound effects, everything. But people discovered that if you recorded it off your TV, it would have what's called broadcast audio, which was much closer to the master tapes and way, way cleaner. So because the Dragon Ball Z fan base is insane, the Japanese fans worked with the American fans, and they got together on a website called Kazenshu, which is like a Dragon Ball Z fan website. And they worked together to reconstruct all 291 episodes worth of broadcast audio and attach them to the highest quality video available, which was the Blu-ray set for the first couple seasons. And then after that, it was color corrected Dragon Box video. So there exists, I'm not going to link it, but there exists, if you search for Dragon Ball Z broadcast audio, the fans have done the legwork to attach all the high quality Japanese audio to every single episode in the highest quality video possible. And it was a project that took over 2 years of Japanese and American fans working together to, like, the Japanese fans were shipping tapes, actual VHS tapes, to American fans who were then digitizing the audio and attaching it to the video. Like, it was fucking crazy. The fact that it even got done is wild. And it just goes to show that the Dragon Ball Z fan base is like one of the craziest fucking ones in like all of anime to even get that done. Now, here's the most fucked up thing. Dragon Ball Z has never officially been released with that audio available, ever. So what they did was the version that kind of leaked to the internet was basically 85 to 90%. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was loud, dude. The version that they released to the internet, like they leaked it on the internet, was 85 to 90% of the quality. But there existed an even higher quality version that was virtually perfect, like 99 point something percent of the original, audio quality of the recordings, okay? And they basically kept that version under wraps. The difference was that they were broadcast from different TV towers in Japan. One of them had like some frequency cut out of it, so it was slightly lower quality, but the other was basically flawless. And the flawless version they kept in an archive, okay? No, I didn't get mad. I didn't. The flawless version they kept in an archive, and what they did with it was they offered it to Toei. They said, hey, we did the work. We've put all this audio together. Do you want this? And Toei, the Japanese company who owns Dragon Ball, said, no, we don't want this. We don't care about this. So they didn't accept it. So then they said, okay, well, our only other option is to go to Funimation. So they took this flawless broadcast Japanese audio to Funimation and they said, do you guys want this? And they said, hell yes, we want to get this out. We want to put this on a Blu-ray and we want to officially release this. So they handed it over and they sat on it and they did nothing with it. And it's been about 10 years since they handed it over. They've never done shit with it. So somewhere out there exists flawless Japanese audio of Dragon Ball Z when the voice actors were in their prime. It's like the best version of the show that has ever existed. And it's just sitting in a vault at Funimation and they're just sitting on it and not doing anything. Remember there was a person here who spammed the pizza sound redeem? Yes, I do. I don't remember who it was, but somebody did. Crunchyroll gonna do it one day? Maybe. I don't know.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
I got you, dude core. You don't have to tell me to hydrate. I got my half gallon right here, motherfuckers. Oh, it was Siren. Yes, in fact, it was. Yeah. Yes, it was a person who repeatedly broke the rules and just joked about breaking them and just was being very disrespectful. But anyways, we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, you were talking about Dragon Ball, and that just got me thinking about that whole story and how crazy it all is. Like, it's actually night and day how much better that audio sounds too. You know what I mean? Yeah, Siren, and it's like, you know how difficult it is to get banned. I've said it a million times. You have to work harder to get banned in my stream than virtually anything else in here. I would sooner make somebody a mod than ban them. Like, it's way easier to get mod or VIP or whatever. I just don't fucking ban people unless I got a good reason, and I had a good reason. I believe I'm threading on fine line right now. What do you mean? Why would you be? Do people think I'm mad over something? I'm chilling, dude. I'm chilling. I'm just sitting here yapping about DBZ. But anyways, so what is cool though is even though it's not flawless, you can still find hosted on some of these questionable sources out there on the internet, so to speak. You can go and find this broadcast audio, but it's not the flawless version. It's the 90%, really good, but not flawless version. But it is still incredibly high quality, and it's way better than anything that has ever officially been released. Like, if you just Google Dragon Ball Z broadcast audio official release, they've never done it. July 26th, 2016 was when the project basically concluded to collect all the broadcast audio and when it was handed over. And they just chose not to, to do anything with it, unfortunately. And they did this more for preservation purposes than anything. Like, it's not as if these fans did this because they wanted to pirate it. They wanted to pay for it. That's what I think is so amazing about this story. Like, a lot of times you hear about stuff like this happening and it's just so people can like trade it amongst themselves and keep it themselves and on their computer and, pirate it and whatever. They literally wanted to pay for it. They're like, we will give this to you, Funimation or Toei or whoever wants it, and we'll pay for this because we want to support it. But they just don't do anything with it because in America, I don't know what it is. It's something about the American culture. People seem to think that Dragon Ball Z is like an American product and it's better in English, which, I mean, you can have your opinion. That's perfectly fine and everything, but I just fully disregard that. I don't agree with that whatsoever, and I just completely reject that thought process. I don't care what the country of origin is. I don't give a fuck if it's German, Swedish, Swiss, Dutch, Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese. I don't give a fuck what the country of origin is. I want to watch that product in its native language. I'll read the subtitles. I'll read the captions. That's all I need, okay? So, to watch any product from any foreign country cheesily dubbed in English, I just can't fucking do it. I can't do it. I don't like it. I hate it. And I've been this way forever. And it is what it is. No problem, Monster. Hey, appreciate you hanging out. It's been awesome to have you in the stream, and thank you for the resub as well. You got your Ruby radio. Oh no, not Ruby. Is that orange? I can't tell. Except Kung Fu Hustle, that's perfect in English. Well, yeah, but I mean... Actually, no, I didn't watch that in English. No, I watched Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle in Japanese. Nah, man. No. Disagree. It may work in English, but nah, not for me. Yeah. It's always fun. You know, when like you and she and Gummy and everybody comes in and hangs out. Pokemon English and Dragon Ball Z English I can get on with because I grew up with them, but if it wasn't for the rose-tinted glasses and the nostalgia, I wouldn't touch them. Listening to Dragon Ball Z in Japanese, it's a way more mature and violent show. What badge do you have? You have the gold chainsaw. Yeah, and you're about to have the black chainsaw, which is the longest streak possible. I think it's 36 months. 3+ years is the black chainsaw. Kung Fu Hustle is Chinese. Well, yeah, I watched it in Chinese. But yeah, it's just a way more violent and mature show. Like some of the things they say in Japanese are actually kind of shocking. Like there's a movie, the first movie with Cooler, Frieza's brother. He actually says when he gets to Earth that he's going to utterly crucify everybody. And they cut that out in the English version. I wonder why. Gee, I wonder why. Inshallah, that's fucking, especially when it's like Spocking. You know, when he like puts his hands up for the Genki Dama. Yeah. That's my shit, man. But in English, it's like an actual fucking, it's just dumbed down, you know? They make like Pop Goes the Weasel references and shit in the English version. It's literally kidified and it sucks. Now, if you have an actual child, like if I ever had a kid that was interested in watching it when they were like 9, 10, 11 years old. Yes. No, hell yeah, man. Genki Dama. I call him Kai-Osama, not King Kai. I want Dragon Ball Super Cooler so bad. Super Broly was the best DB has been in years. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy about that movie in the States, though, Dr. Red, but it's just because of English voice actor bullshit controversy. The English voice actors for Japanese products just can't seem to get themselves out of drama. Every fucking 2 days, there's some more drama going on with those idiots. Yeah, Kai in English is much closer to the actual Japanese translations. Like, it's actually impressive how much better those translations are. But going back and watching like the original Funimation run on Cartoon Network is so cringy for me, man. I can't do it. I loved it as a kid, but man, some of those lines are just god awful. And they just ruin like the intensity of some of those scenes in the worst way. So if you guys are ever curious, look up on YouTube Dragon Ball Z broadcast audio. You can get the scoop on everything I've been talking about for the past like 20 minutes. But it's a big long story. And if I went through the whole thing from start to finish here, we would be yapping until 4 in the morning. So, but it is very interesting. What are you up to, Dude Core? Sorry, man. I know I know I was going to reach out to you on Discord, but man, I got to be honest. I've been taking some time away from the PC these past couple days. Same, man. Same. Yeah, I've been very fucking busy at work. I've had YouTube stuff that I'm doing in the background. So I just got to a point where I was like, I need a couple days off the computer, like entirely. The line with Frieza literally piercing, killing, and Krillin and killing him. I think in the OG English he's something like Ride 'em Cowboy. Yeah, it's fucking really bad. And they colored in the blood and they made it white to make it look like spit. The big green dub. That's the dumbest one, dude. Fucking big green. And you know what? This might be a hot take, but I think the Canadian Dragon Ball Z was actually better than the English version. No, not since the 2 last videos I made. No, I'm just working on a bunch of stuff. Yeah, let that child alone. Piccolo comes in and says, let that child alone. The dudes where it's like English is their 4th or 5th language. And they just threw him in the booth and said, whatever the fuck happens, happens, dude. Figure it out, I guess. Y'all figure it out in there. The Falconer soundtrack hits. I used to think so, but once I got used to the Kikuchi music, I can't hear anything else. Some of those tracks are still cool. Like, I do love the Perfect Cell theme is pretty cool. Wow, the fact that they were even able to extract 9 minutes of best parts, that's pretty crazy to me. Nine minutes of bullshit, dude. But unfortunately, I can't show any dub of Dragon Ball Z whatsoever because Funimation are just assholes when it comes to Dragon Ball Z copyright on YouTube. And if you even show like 15 fucking seconds of any footage from any version, they'll hit you with a copyright violation. And my YouTube channel's on like its last legs. They're gonna take my live streaming privileges away, dude. They really will. Somebody linked me a TV show called Mr. Robot a few weeks ago. And because we watched one clip of that, I got a copyright violation. And then right after, I got another one because of Silent Hill Homecoming. And then a third one because of the second Silent Hill Homecoming stream. And then they basically told me if you do it again, then they would remove my... they did remove my privileges for like 3 days. That's why I took a 3-day break. So if I violate it again, they're probably going to do a full 7 days. And I can't have that because YouTube is my only way to archive this shit. So don't you just love it, dude? Don't you just love it? What a fair platform that allows everybody good opportunities. But yeah. Oh, it is. No, it is ridiculous, dude. I thought Twitch was bad about that shit. YouTube is even worse. No, it's because YouTube is ran by bots. Like, bots just auto-detect content and determine whether or not it's copyrighted material. So they go based on, like, if it's animation, they go by, like, keyframes or certain just particular scenes that have been loaded into some fucking algorithm that says it's copyrighted. And obviously there's a lot of bullshit with it. There's a lot of abuse. People filing false copy strikes happens all the fucking time. YouTube falsely claiming that things are copyrighted material when it's not, or vice versa, claiming that it isn't when it is. There's all kinds of fuck ups with it. But guess what? While they're investigating those fuck ups, your channel is screwed. So when that happens, there's not a whole lot you can do. But anyways, let me check something. Tis what it is. Hey.
What the fuck?
Holy shit, that's loud, dude. He spent 1,000 on that. Remember when YouTube was the fun video sharing website? Not anymore, just content farm, slop and drama. Well, we have our old pal Keemstar to thank for that, because he's the guy who started the whole YouTube TMZ thing in like 2014. I think 2014 is when he started that bullshit Drama Alert channel. So Keemstar started that shit. And, you know, everybody else is on the bandwagon now, where everybody just wants to be the newest Drama Alert. Aphex Twin did a Supreme collaboration. Oh my god. Society ended somewhere around there. It sounds horrible. Dirty Frank will always... Oh, you mean Filthy Frank. Yeah, I was gonna say, who's Dirty Frank? It's like his slightly less problematic cousin. Yeah, slightly less problematic cousin is Dirty Frank. Anyways, guys, we've yapped quite enough for one night. My voice is starting to go, as you can probably hear. So if you guys want to join the Discord, there it is. Pearl Jam's Dirty Frank, yeah. We're going to raid Gummy, because Gummy is live right now. She just started about 45 minutes ago. She's playing some Bloodborne. Fucking the best FromSoft game ever. No question. So go hang out with Gummy. I'm going to break the chains on room 302 in 3, 2, 1. No problem, Siren. Thank you for watching.